Relax and let the spad orchids transport you to another world. See HollywoodHotel.com.
Don't miss the BAFTA award-winning comedian Michael McIntyre's brand new show, Magnificent, at the SSE Arena Belfast on Friday the 31st of May 2024. As always, Highland Radio make it easy for you as we look after all your needs. We will provide luxury transfers, overnight stay at the Clayton Hotel Belfast on a B&B basis, your ticket to the show, shopping time in Belfast City Centre. For more information, go to the outlet at highlandradio.com or give us a call on 074 91 25000. Michael McIntyre in Belfast.
Look at that for a time, Gregory Hughes.
9 o'clock on the button, boy.
You're impressed with me.
Stop.
I can tell, you're a man of praise.
It is, it's good. You know what? Even the broken clock's right twice a day.
Yeah, see that? And you'll get a compliment from me. Come here, I was listening to you yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
And you said you're taking a bit of time off next week.
Yeah.
Maybe Monday?
Well, Caroline, was that okay? Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Why
It's
Monday?
my birthday on Monday.
Is it? Mm-hmm. What age are you Monday?
Oh, well, that's for you to know and me to find out.
Are you
or the other way around.
Should we know, don't we?
No.
You're 42.
46, 47, in that area.
No, up a wee bit more.
086 60 25,000.
5,000.
What age is Greg?
Oh, well, we'll get a few texts.
Might change my name, actually. Did you see that Roberts book from Carrigard or Glen area? Given out about the name Greg.
I've seen that. Seen that post. No, it's your boy Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. You got that name completely wrong, didn't you?
What?
You didn't call him his right name.
Did I not?
No, you got it all back to front.
Yeah.
You just like Greg. So come here, big birthday then, Monday.
Hold on you a second now.
How long your horse? What are you saying?
Are you in Team Greg or Team Eric here?
What? I'm team myself.
Okay, that's fine. What age am I? I don't know, actually. I'm going to have to check the passport.
So you're taking a few days off. So your big celebrations then must be...
No. It's just literally to have some time off. The weather's good. I've taken 4 days off this year, and, it's almost the middle of the year. That's all there is to it.
That's good enough.
I'm not going away. I'm not doing nothing.
All right, okay. Come here, have a good show.
But if you see me out and about, don't be afraid you can buy me a drink.
That's you're all right.
Not you. You're too tight.
I am. Buy a bottle of milk or something.
All right, then. Take care of yourself.
Good luck.
Thanks very much, Lee. It is a minute past 9. Let's get a news update, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The North's Education Minister has promised to give an update to West Tyrone MLA Melissa McHugh on the need for more capacity at Knockavo Special Education School in Strabane. Minister Paul Given gave Mr McHugh an update on education projects in West Tyrone, including confirmation that works at Gael School Idorgady in Strabane will be complete in June of this year, while work is progressing on the Strull Education Campus in Omagh, the biggest education project currently underway in Northern Ireland. Mr Given also outlined progress on a number of other school projects in the area.
St Catherine's Primary School Strabane has an approved business case, and Dean McGurk College in Carrickmore, it was paused in 2023 and it remains so. Drumragh Integrated College Omagh is currently in design stage. St Mary's Primary School, Clocker and Strabane Primary School are progressing in design and business case stages respectively under the school enhancement programmes. In terms of the specific school that the member raises around capacity, I'm more than happy to follow up in writing to give the member a detailed response to that question.
60 PhD scholarships have been announced by Atlantic Technological University under the TU Rise scheme. The scheme aims to build research capacity between academia and regional enterprises in the West and Northwest. The scholarships cover a broad range of disciplines such as advanced manufacturing and engineering, agri-food and agri-tech, life sciences, medtech and medical devices, and marine and blue economy. Applications are now open. More information can be found on our website, highlandradio.com. Donegal Mountain Rescue Team were tasked by Garda to assist a walker who sustained a lower leg injury on Loch Salt over the weekend. The alarm was raised at around 1:20 on Saturday afternoon, and the team made their way to the casualty using location technology and with the assistance of other walkers in the group. Tara Duggan has more.
After stabilising the injured leg, the remainder of the walking group were sent down the mountain as the weather deteriorated. As a second rescue team made their way to assist with the casualties' evacuation, they'd gotten caught in a heavy hail shower. After securing the injured person in the stretcher, both teams proceeded to descend the hill. As the weather continued to worsen, they were forced off the path as it was unsuitable for transporting the stretcher, resulting in several detours. Call-out coordinators at the base of the mountain had requested an ambulance. The casualty was successfully transported off the hill and taken to hospital for further treatment. The team was stood down at 17:50 p.m.
Restaurants say the model they're being forced to work with by government is making their businesses fail. A new report shows an average of 2 restaurants have shut their doors for good each day this year, with 71 food-led hospitality businesses closures in February alone. The Restaurant Association of Ireland says that's coming at a cost because the economic value of Ireland's small independent restaurants and cafes is being overlooked. Looking out to weather, today will be cool and breezy with scattered showers and some sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees in moderate to fresh northwesterly breezes. That's all for now. We'll be back again at 10 o'clock.
Menopause can be a challenging time of life. I'm Lorraine Keane and I choose Irish supplement Clean Marine Menamin because it's Ireland's #1 clinically proven peri and menopause supplement for daily nutritional support. Trusted by thousands of Irish women for over 10 years, Menamin contains omega-3 DHA to support brain health and vitamin B6, which contributes to the regulation of hormonal activity, and all in just 2 capsules a day. Ask for Menamin at health stores and pharmacies and learn more at cleanmarine.ie.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It's 5 minutes past 9 on this Tuesday, the 16th of April 2024. And you're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. And it's another busy show keeping you right across all the main news and features affecting us here across the Northwest. We've Community Garda information coming up for you after 10, of course, where you hear the latest appeals and information from An Garda Síochána. First, that and so much more besides. Your input into the conversation as well, more than welcome on 086 60 25,000. That's 086 60 25,000. You can give us a call too on 07491 25,000. 07491 25,000, or email comments at highlandradio.com. Okay. Also, if you want to watch the show, you can hop onto our YouTube channel and watch us on your smart screen TV or your Fire Stick. And we are on YouTube there, Highland Radio Ireland. We're across Facebook as well, Highland Hub, Highland News and Sport, and on the X platform. All right, so much to get through, as I say, over the next wee while. And we start, as we always do, with a look at the newspapers. And, you know, one of the companies in terms of sort of customer care that we've had the greatest amount of complaints and frustration from service users is Air. And often, you know, you think it's down to, you know, maybe poor management or poor customer care training or a lack of customer care staff. And, you know, I think that's almost often what we presume it might be and people give out. But little did we know that there are some companies, is certainly one that's named today, that actually had a handbook to frustrate the process of making a complaint, which is really hard to swallow, isn't it? I'll read the story here from the Irish Times. A judge has labelled Air a disgrace after a court heard evidence that the telecom provider warned staff they could be disciplined for adhering to statutory regulation government customer complaints. So the staff were who were charged with customer care were facing losing their jobs potentially if they actually adhered to the regulations in dealing with customer complaints. In a Dublin District Court case taken by Comreg, Air and its parent company Aircom pleaded guilty to multiple breaches of the law over its failure to acknowledge customer complaints and provide responses within 10 working days, among other issues. At the hearing, Comreg produced an Air training manual, which, the watchdog said, warned employees they would face disciplinary proceedings if following laws covering customer complaints. The same manual also outlined trigger words that would allow people calling Air with complaints have them dealt with quickly, effectively. If those words were not used, concerns frequently went nowhere. The court heard that updates made by Air to its code of practice for complaints handling in January 2022 resulted in restrictions to its customers' ability to log formal complaints. Barrister Shelley Horan for Comreg outlined a sample of customers whose complaints were not dealt with by Air in accordance with regulatory code of practice. if you used words like, there were trigger words. So if you used words like, I want to log a formal official complaint and I want a case reference number, those using phrases such as I want a supervisor or I want to complain, found complaints were often not dealt with. So if you actually sort of said, I want to escalate this within the customer complaints process, you were actually disadvantaged. In a statement after the court case, AIR said it fully complies with Comreg complaints procedures, although it acknowledged that the language previously used in training material could have been clearer in this regard. So, as I say, if you've had that experience, according to the findings of that court case, it wasn't by accident. It was actually by design, remarkably. Into the Irish Independent now, and driving test waiting times will average 10 weeks by the middle of the year, we're told. We were told that last year as well. Safety chiefs have told the Taoiseach. NCT test waiting times will also be cut down to 12 days by the summer. The two promises were made at a meeting with Taoiseach Simon Harris, Ministers Helen McEntee, Eamon Ryan and Jack Chambers, and Road Safety Authority Chief Liz O'Donnell and her co-chief Sam Wade. And Garda Síochána will also be asked to provide ongoing enforcement activity plans as part of efforts to tackle spiralling deaths on Irish roads this year. The RSA will spend an extra €3 million this year on road safety campaigns and education initiatives from their own reserves. It'll be interesting to see what the RSA actually believes that is. Will it be one ad, that costs $500,000 to make and then spend $2.5 million on advertising? Or will they actually sort of say, well, how can we reach the demographics here properly and in a way they understand that will actually prevent or try and prevent road traffic collisions? That would be very, very interesting. And I'm sure a lot of us would actually like to have an input into that and go to a group of younger people, for an example. And I'm not saying they cause all the collisions, but they are overrepresented, you might say, and talk to them about, what would work in how we message to you. Also, how do you get the messages along to push bike riders, pedestrians, motorcyclists who are also very sadly losing their lives? How can you educate them or get through to them to ensure that they are as safe as possible out on our roads? I'll watch with interest. Unfortunately, I'm naturally, as it relates to the Road Safety Authority in this regard, pessimistic, but we shall wait and see. The authority will also be tasked with finding out what extra funds they need this year, which will come from the Department of Transport. Collision data will also be shared and law changes will be made if necessary following proposals from the RSA-led Data Enabler Group in the Data Protection Commission. But let's crowd think here, without necessarily being about having a go at other road users that maybe annoy us or what have you. What do you really genuinely think we could be doing or should be doing to reduce the deaths and serious injuries on our roads? What do you think might work? Let's hive mind it. 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. What do you believe the Garda or the government that's within their power to do? What do you think they should be doing to try and reduce the amount of people dying on our roads? Staying on the roads, fears are growing of the possibility of petrol and diesel prices breaking the €2 a litre mark in the coming months. Crude oil is now expected to pass $100 a barrel, and the last time that happened in 2022, prices at the pumps went over the €2 threshold. The price of crude had already jumped 20% since the start of the year, and unrest in the Middle East is expected to send prices spiralling. That being said, things can change really, really quite quickly. And if things can calm down between Israel and Iran particularly, those prices will start falling again really quite rapidly. So fingers crossed on many levels for that. But the paper says that this is bad news for Irish motorists, with excise duty, which was cut in the wake of the energy crisis after the invasion of Ukraine, expected to be fully restored by the start of August. Fuels for Ireland chief Kevin McCrossan said, so there are a couple of things here. When we were at €2 and above a litre, it was just price of crude. Crude is bought in dollars, so you need to look at exchange rates also. But at the time, we were talking about the immediate aftermath of the invasion of Ukraine and the energy prices increasing as a result, and on it goes. I think we all kind of know what the situation is there, but we appreciate his commentary. And staying on the roads and the slowdown in a demand for electric cars, and it's not just here in Ireland, by the way, it's globally, has led to Tesla axing 10% of its staff. I don't think anyone in Ireland is affected. 14,000 workers at Tesla are losing their jobs. It's being framed as a restructuring of the company as it kicks on forward, but there's absolutely no doubt that a slowing down in demand for its vehicles and extra competition from China is resulting in them having to reduce their workforce. Electric vehicles company Tesla is to lay off more than 10% of its global workforce, according to reports. It said to be shedding about 14,000 jobs, but it's not yet known where they will be lost across the business. Tesla, led by billionaire Elon Musk, has just recorded its first drop in vehicle deliveries for 4 years. Mr. Musk told employers in an email the company needed to be lean, innovative and hungry. He added, "There is nothing I hate more, but it must be done. I'd like to thank everyone that's departing Tesla for their work." He claims that the sort of rapid increase in staff meant there's quite a bit of an overlap in roles, and he only wants people working there that, you know, have a defined role and what have you. But it's obviously also connected to greater competition, but also a drop-off in the demand for electric vehicles. Interesting comments from Taoiseach Simon Harris yesterday. I wonder what you think of these. Maybe you've seen them already. They're not widely reported, but the reason they're not widely reported is because I suspect that the media is based in Dublin, and they're probably going, you know what you're saying is correct there, Simon. I don't see a story in this. The Journal did cover it, however, and we're going to cover it a little bit later on. So the Taoiseach said he's of a generation more familiar with Berlin and Paris than Belfast or Derry. Harris said, "We've yet to see the full benefits of the peace process." Taoiseach Simon Harris has said people of his generation are more familiar with Berlin and Paris than they are with Belfast or Derry in the north. Harris made the comments as he addressed the British-Irish Parliamentary Assembly. It was the first time he has spoken as Taoiseach at a meeting of Irish and UK parliamentarians. Harris told the audience that there's a whole generation of people who are yearning to be involved in a conversation about the future. It's a conversation about how we work together. He called for this conversation to be about practical areas. He said also, "If I'm being very honest, I'm of a generation where people are more familiar now with London and Berlin and Paris than they might be with Belfast or Derry." Now, there's two ways of looking at this. Firstly, obviously, to some extent, he may well be correct. So there are people in Dublin, Cork, Kerry, right, who perhaps haven't travelled into the north for a long time, if ever. They don't really feel a connection to it. They're close to local airports, and maybe they do fly into Europe, and maybe they are familiar with Berlin and Paris and elsewhere. But that being said, what comments like this, the reason why it upsets people, I believe, is because it ignores a whole swathe of people in the north of the country. That is clearly not the case, that people, Derry and Belfast are as much a part of our lives, if not more of a part of our lives than, say, for instance, you know, Sligo, and for some people, even Donegal Town, right, if you're in North Inishowen. So what Simon Harris is saying is perhaps partly true, in that certainly there are people in this country that have more of an affinity or more of a knowledge of European cities than Derry and Belfast. But his comments ignore, and, you know, he is a Taoiseach for all of Ireland. Again, it kind of ignores, it feels like, and I'm open to correction, and we've asked him onto the show, it feels like it ignores the lived reality of many, many people on this island. Okay, he speaks of a generation, but he's not really aware of how many people in his generation, it's completely not the case at all. And very sadly, unfortunately, there's a new generation of people that may well be less familiar with Belfast and Derry and more familiar with Sydney and Dubai and Canada and New York, which I think is something that deserves more of a conversation about. But anyway, what do you think about that? What do you think about his comments? What do you think it demonstrates, if anything? And maybe you fully agree with him, and that's perfectly fine too. Of course, 08660 25,000. As I say, I'm not taking them out of context. I understand that for quite a lot of people in this country, maybe he's talking to them of their generation. But the problem is like an awful lot of decisions and commentary that comes out of the capital, it ignores the lived reality of so many people here, or people from down the country who've got family in the north that are up and down visiting them every other weekend. You know, it goes, well, who are you speaking for here? So maybe he misspoke. Maybe he just didn't fully get it. I don't know. I'm not here to defend him or I'm not here to lambast him either. Just to open it up to all of you guys out there. 08660 25,000. That is the WhatsApp and the text number. Right. 19,000 off waiting lists, apparently. This is in the Irish Daily Star. Nearly 19,000 patients have been removed from hospital waiting lists without seeing a doctor since the beginning of this year. Some 2,762 patients who had been waiting for procedures at Galway University Hospital were cut from the list, along with 1,626 who'd been scheduled to receive treatment at Tallaght University Hospital. A total of over 18 or almost 19,000 individuals were removed during the first 3 months of 2024 as part of a validation process aimed at reducing waiting lists in hospitals throughout the country. Each of the patients was sent a letter by the health service asking them to confirm whether they will require the procedures for which they were waiting. When no response was received, a reminder was issued after 2 weeks, and another 2 weeks they were removed from the waiting list. So I'm just slightly concerned, though it might not be an issue. A lot of people from this part of the world maybe are waiting in procedures in Galway University Hospital. They claim to have sent a letter out and then another letter out, and then 2 weeks after that, people, 2,762 of them were taking off waiting lists for procedures at Galway University Hospital. I just hope those letters were recorded and those letters went to the right addresses, and that we don't have people listening to this show today that, unknowns to themselves, have been taken off the hospital waiting list. Irish Daily Mirror. A man has appeared in court after being charged with stealing almost €2,000 from a church while a funeral was taking place. Renus Matras appeared at Letterkenny District Court, charged that on April 14th at St. Eunan's Cathedral, he did steal property, to wit, €1,754.55 and £613 sterling, the property of parish priest Monsignor Kevin Gillespie. It follows an incident during midday mass at the cathedral yesterday, during which a large sum of cash was stolen from the sacristy of the church. It happened just moments after mass while a funeral was taking place. The accused, 43 of Fortwell, Letterkenny, was arrested a short time later and taken to Letterkenny Garda station for questioning. He appeared before Judge Attain Cunningham. Garda Sergeant Maurice Doyle said evidence of arrest, charge and caution of the accused had been given by way of schedule. The court was told that directions had been forwarded from the DPP, who has decided to deal with the case by way of summary disposal in the district court. Defence solicitor Mr Patsy Gallagher said the accused is a foreign national from Poland and that there will be a plea in the case. However, while he said he had instructions, he added he would like an interpreter and was requesting an adjournment. He also said he was seeking a probation report, adding that his client has no previous convictions. 08660 25,000. That's our WhatsApp and text number.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Kelly's Centra and Diner, Mountaintop Letterkenny, winner of Best Family Dining at the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
In the next 15 seconds, you're going to find out where is the best place in the Northwest to buy a bed or mattress. It's Restex Beds and Furniture, Mountaintop, Letterkenny, where comfort meets style.
Have you got denture problems? Donegal Denture Clinic can help. Situated beside Rossin College at Ballyrain, Letterkenny. They customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Free consultations. Call 9125253. Medical cards accepted. Did you know medical card holders can now get dentures every 5 years? For all your denture needs, see donegaldentureclinic.ie or call 9125253.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonher Road, Donegal Town.
A Million Medleys, the superb new show from Michael English. A special concert of globally loved million-selling hits. It's an unmissable show with Michael English. Friday, April 19th on Green On Letterkenny. Tickets €30 plus booking fee. See on greenon.com.
TFI Local Link operates evening and weekend services throughout rural Ireland to help you stay connected 7 days a week. We know life doesn't just happen 9 to 5, so if you're commuting, shopping, visiting family, or going out in the evenings or on the weekends, let TFI Local Link take you there. Visit transportforireland.ie.
Ryan Adams is back on tour in 2024. Join Highland Radio on our trip to Dublin to see the man himself at the 3 Arena on Tuesday the 21st of May 2024. Your trip includes luxury transfers, bed and breakfast at the 4-star Carlton Hotel Blanchardstown, your standing ticket to the show, and a shopping trip to Dublin city centre the following day. Find out more on the outlet at highlandradio.com or call us on 074 91 25,000.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. The Carelock of Donegal County Council is Fine Gael Councillor Martin Hardy is with me now. Good morning to you, Martin. How are you getting on?
Morning, Greg. Morning, listeners.
Good to have you on the show. Right, okay, we're a few months in now into the deposit return scheme. And you've been speaking about it. You don't believe it's working very well. Talk to me about your concerns.
Yeah, I just feel, I know we're only 2 months, it started on the 1st of February. I just feel that it may be affecting small businesses that can't afford to put in the machines. A few of my concerns as well, it's most for statistics wise, there's 1.9 billion bottles and cans that are sold in Ireland every year. The first month of February, the only figures I have to date are the first month of February, only 2 million bottles and cans were recycled. Okay, then the first 10 days of March, there was 3.2 million. That was a big rise, but it's still 3.2 million. If you multiply that over a year, it only works out at 116 or 117 million, which is way short of the 1.9 billion that is sold. But my big concern is that I'll be talking to different people, is that the small retailers that sell, that they have to put the extra 15 and 25 cents onto the bottles and cans, is that they can't afford a machine. Machines cost around 40 to 50,000, and that people will take the plastic bottles back to the multinationals and do their shopping there.
Yeah, so because for people who aren't aware of it, you don't get handed cash, do you? You get a printout and you can take that to the till and you can exchange it to your shopping. So you could have someone who is buying all of their soft drinks in a local shop that doesn't have a return machine and takes them all for their weekly shop and deposits that deposit effectively into the multinational's pockets rather than into the local retailer.
Yeah.
But has the local retailer not already benefited, though, or not already out of pocket because they've sold the product, the deposits on it? They're not really at a loss, are they?
Well, a lot of them are at a loss because a lot of them may not have put up their product. A lot of them may have taken the hit themselves. They may not have put on the 25 cents and 15 cents onto the product. I mean, that's my worry as well, because at the same time, it's a very competitive market out there. So everybody's trying to hold on to the customers that they have. And so that's my worry as well. So I just feel that I think there needs to be more publicity on this. And then I feel as well that possibly that you should be able to, wherever you deposit an item, you should be able to use that receipt wherever you want to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe there should be more like the recycling centres. Maybe there should be more places like that you can go on and you get an all-for-one voucher that you can use at whatever store you want to use it in. So I just feel that should be more. I think there needs to be more.
But that you're asking the big business then to take it a hit. They'll never sign up for this. Now, maybe I'm different to the vast majority of the population, but if I wanted a can of Coke, or a bottle of Coke, right, I'm not going to go into Lidl to get it. for an example, because, you know, obviously you'd have to walk through the door and all the, you know what I mean? It's not quick. So I'll go to a local shop and I'll grab a can of Coke there or a bottle of Coke there. Now, I may well then, when I'm doing my weekly shop, let's just presume that's where I shop, that's when I might try and get my deposit back. So really what you're asking the big business to do here is to subsidise the smaller businesses. They're never going to sign up for that.
No, but it's not even that as well, Greg. What I found was that I talked to somebody there last week, was that they went to a multinational store and done the recycling. They did not want anything at that particular moment from the shop, but they went to another shop belonging to the same multinational, and they went to the desk and they produced a receipt, and they said, "No, sorry, you didn't recycle that here." So I think that's wrong. It was the same multinational. So, but plus as well that I feel that it's not. You know, I'm not asking the multinationals to sign up to this. I'm asking that the recycle, reuse, that we make it more accessible for the small businesses, and we give them a chance as well, because this is important, because we're going to end up losing jobs as well, not just. So that's important. Like, we have to look at all. We have to look at all the things.
Do you think the system then, as a whole, is working? And the small businesses then are the victim of the success? Because what I'm hearing is a lot of people are storing these bottles. You see people, like I've seen it with myself recently, where someone lands at one of these machines with 2 massive plastic bags full of the stuff. They flutter around at the machine and then end up walking off with the 2 bags because the machine's out of order or it's not playing ball with their bottles.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there's you have to feed the machine slowly, Greg. I found it, because I've tried to use it myself just so I get a better understanding of it myself. So you have to feed the machine slowly. The product you're putting in, you have to put the base of the product in first, not the top of it. And if you try to feed the machine too quickly, it will jam and it will stay out of order. But what I do find, in fairness to some of the places now, was that they would have somebody on hand pretty quickly to sort the issue out. But that may not happen in all the places.
Do you know what's being done with all the money collected? Obviously, there's only a fraction of these bottles actually being recycled at this point. Do we know what's happening to the money that's being taken off the consumer?
No, well, that was another point that I raised as well, was that as the case now that the multinationals are going to make an extra money out of it as well, because and I know myself from being in business over 30 years, is that when I would have started in business over 30 years ago, the amount of bottles that went back to the supplier was about 85 to 90% of the bottles went back. Now, at this particular moment, the only products that go back to the supplier now are Bulmer's products.
Right.
And every other thing is gone into waste. So I don't see that. To me, it's the multinationals are not taking more. They should be taking more responsibility.
That's quite worrying, yeah, indeed. Okay. I mean, lots of people that can pick holes in this. I mean, is it not possible, though, that maybe some of these small businesses could actually take these bottles themselves? Is there no way? I thought there was a system whereby they could store them and then they could give them back in plastic bags. Is that not an option?
Yeah, well, I would have signed up to that scheme myself, but to date, no, we have not got no. We've had no feedback on it.
So you have a lot of plastic bottles just knocking around the place.
Yeah. Another point is as well, Greg. I just felt it's something that I thought of myself, and I don't know whether it work or not. That towns that have chamber of commerces, that they could have a recycling place, and you could go in there and do your recycling, and the receipt that you get back, you could use it in whatever store you wanted to use it.
I think that's a critical point that you're making, that you should be able to do with the money what you wish, because it is your money, isn't it? Okay.
Yes, because you spent the money on the product. You paid for it, no matter where you paid for it, but you should be able to spend it wherever you want to spend it. You shouldn't be just pushed into the big multinationals. All
right, okay. Well, we'll see what the public think as well. Thank you for your time today. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg.
Councillor Martin Harley there, Cahirlock of Donegal County Council. Some of your comments coming in on that already. Greg, where will all the unclaimed deposits for this go? New recycling scheme be going to? There'll be millions involved over time. I would say we're not far off that already. This has just turned out to be another tax. It may have seemed like a good idea to someone somewhere, but it is too awkward for people with not enough machines, and people won't bother. You can do a return bottles and cans and take the cash. Most shops do allow this. Okay, I've not heard of this. Can you? Is that your experience? I'm not doubting the listener for a second, but they say you can return the bottles and the cans and take cash. Can you leave a bag with someone behind the till to deposit the bottles? If the shop doesn't have a machine, the shop can give you the money back themselves. That's a question I put to Martin. He's signed up for it, but I think he's waiting on someone to come around and collect them. Hi, littering from your car is a €500 fine. In the UK, this money is being given to local councils to encourage them to act. Now, some are encouraging people to upload their videos from dash cams showing people littering. Another, what about people who have to buy bottled water for drinking because of the lack of water supply or water quality in their area? Indeed, I can see why that would grate. Another, what about the recycling fee I pay in restaurants? Who's getting the money back there? If it's on bottles, one can only presume, and maybe foolishly, that it is going, that they get it back. But I see your point there, actually. You're not getting it back. It's going to the restaurant. Of course it is. Sorry, I just worked it out. I was reading it. Okay, we'll be back with more shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
It's time to transform your smile with the help of Blue Poppy Dental, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Their expert team offer orthodontics, teeth whitening, implants and composite bonding all in-house. Start your journey by calling 074 97 40404 or easily book your appointment online at a time that suits you through their user-friendly patient portal. Available anytime, anywhere at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Gift vouchers available.
Foy & Company, Ballybuffet and Letterkenny are the largest stockists of interior and exterior paint in the Northwest. If you're planning a painting project and need help picking the right colour and brand of paint for your home or commercial premises, call in and ask our qualified paint colour consultants, interior designers and interior stylists. The team at Foy & Company, Ballybuffet and Letterkenny will be delighted to help.
Are your small appliances due an upgrade? Irwin Expert Electrical, your ultimate destination for all things electrical. From stylish toasters and kettles to innovative coffee machines and air fryers. Or elevate your tech game with our selection of smartwatches, iPads, laptops and phones, and TVs from all your top brands. Stay connected with Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Skoda cars are made for exploring Ireland. But let's add more style, more sexiness, more French. Skoda Fabia, Scala and Kamiq models are available in the Monte Carlo range. Black exterior details, excusez-moi, sports seats and bumpers, enchanté, and carbon decor. So chic. Order your new 2024 Skoda with more je ne sais quoi at skoda.ie. Skoda, let's explore.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 07497 21396.
There's an exciting lineup of events in store at the Villa Rose and Jackson's Hotels Ballybuffet this spring. From Ireland's top Tina Turner act to the Whistling Donkeys, to the Young Wolf Tones and more. Contact the Villa Rose and Jackson's Hotels for details.
Now you're very welcome back. A caller says, Greg, do you know how much of a parachute payment an outgoing county councillor receives? Off the top of my head, I don't. But It is considerable. I'll get those figures for you. I have figures in my head, okay, but I want to make sure I read the right figures. So bear with me. I'll find that out for you in the next wee while. A caller says it's a pity that we don't have an energy regulator that can hold the government accountable for putting a price hike on our electricity bills. They claim that this is fraud. I got a letter from a consultant 2 days ago asking if I still wanted my appointment. I have a heart condition called defib. I'm supposed to be seen every 6 months. I haven't received a letter in a year. I have a lifelong condition and they were going to cancel my appointment. That's something that just people have to be careful of to make sure they're not taken off the lists by accident. I was looking at the news and Minister Humphreys and Harris introduced the hot meals programmes to school, and that's great, but I'm a school cleaner and my hours have been cut. Did anyone else's school cleaning hours get cut? We don't get enough hours for all the work that we do. I was getting 11 hours and now I'm down to 9, which is quite a significant reduction in your hours. Is this one school and one cleaner, or has school cleaning hours been cut across the board? Please let us know. 08660 25,000. Okay, time to unmute in Buncrana because we're saying good morning now to transition year students at Scullmore Buncrana. Eva Graham. Hi, Eva. You have to unmute for me, please, one of you. Thank you so very much. Eva Graham, good morning to you. How are you getting on?
We're getting on good.
And also,
with me.
and Ruby Gillespie. Good morning to you, Ruby.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing
Thanks for
good.
having us on.
No, it's our pleasure. And you are the YSI, or part of the YSI Teen Spirit Project in Scullmore Buncrana. Eva, do you want to start off and tell us a little bit about this project? Or Ruby, whoever, whichever, either two of you. Go ahead.
We're taking part in the Young Social Innovators programme, and our group is called Teen Spirits, and we're focusing on raising awareness around alcohol. As on the 31st of March this year, there has been 58 deaths on Irish roads. That's 16 more than this time last year. Speeding and intoxication were key factors. Earlier this year, the Road Safety Authority and Christina McElhenney, the Donegal Officer for Alcohol and Drugs, visited us and enlightened us on the dangers, and that encouraged us to try and make a difference.
Yeah, and how are you going about doing that? Sorry, which? Put your hand up, Eva. Which one? Okay, just so I know which is which. Okay, Eva, tell us how you're going about doing this, please.
So one way we've decided to try to tackle the issue is that we created our own beer mats. So one of our students, Ethan, designed a QR code, and this QR code links to local taxi services. So what we've done here is we've made beer mats, and we're planning to distribute them to all the pubs and hotels in Buncrana. So what we did to start off this project is we rang up taxis and asked if we could put their number in the beer mats, and most of them said yes. So when we put these in the pubs, people will be able to scan a lift home with their phone just by scanning the QR code, and it'll help them ring a taxi for a lift home. We're hoping that it'll prevent drinking and driving or people trying to attempt to walk home in unsafe conditions.
Yeah. And Eva, Eva, is when they scan it, is it just telephone numbers, or is there any advice about it?
Numbers, yeah.
So it's just simply the numbers, which is great. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, so you can just click the button and it'll ring the taxi for you.
And did you come up with this idea yourselves?
We did, yeah.
Right, okay, it's fantastic. So all beer mats around the pubs in Buncrana have the QR code. You easily take a picture or scan it, and instantly you've got a whole list of numbers.
We're actually hosting a launch party today where we've invited all the pub owners and hotel owners in, and we're planning to distribute them, so they should be in all the pubs and hotels soon.
And Ruby, it also maybe reminds people or starts that conversation about maybe getting into a car with someone who's had a drink, too many people in a vehicle, or as your colleague Eva said there, risking the walk home in dark conditions and maybe going out clothes that could leave you vulnerable to other road users.
Yeah, so that's like our main issue. We just really want to reduce. We really just want people to be safe and get home safe one night. So, and
also, Ruby, there's also leaflets going out as well. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we designed a brochure to send to all the schools in Donegal. There are 3 sections on our brochure: the effects and consequences, some did you know facts, such as In Ireland, more people have died from alcohol than all other illegal drugs combined. And that really shocked us and showed us just how dangerous alcohol really is. And when you binge drink, your brain struggles to send messages to the heart and lungs, which can be fatal. We have narrowed it down to 5 red flags. Do you, your friends, or family members show these red flags around alcohol? You should talk to someone and get some advice.
Do you get injured often on nights out? Do you often lose belongings? Do you fall out with friends and family members? Do you spend more money than others on a night out because you just can't stop drinking? To anyone listening today, if you recognise one of these red flags, please don't be afraid to reach out and seek some help.
On our brochure, we also have a QR code with alcohol helplines. For example, Alateen is a helpful resource for teenagers who are struggling with alcohol abuse. We want young people to think before they drink.
And it's been helpful having this conversation as well. I presume, not amongst yourselves because this is something you're interested in, but generally amongst younger people. I think these conversations are easier, or maybe they're listened to more if it's your peers talking to you and it's not sort of older people speaking down to you. So yous are sort of taking control of this conversation, which I think is the right way to do it.
Yeah, definitely, because we're actually planning to go into different classes in the school and talk about this.
So we've organised lesson plans, which we're going to do right before summer, because during the summer, young people might be tempted to, go out and drink. But we have presentations, and we're going to go around like the wellbeing classes in our school and hand out our brochures and just warn them on the dangers.
Yeah, and Eva, this is not necessarily... I mean, there's a reality here, right? Some young people are going to drink. Many young people don't drink, by the way, and that's often not talked about. But they are going to drink, and the message simply is if you're drinking so much that it's raising these red flags, there's an issue there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And also if you are out socialising, whether you're drinking or not for that matter, you want to get home safe. And it's not just, and I think it's not just safety in terms of, the drinking element of it. It's good that people get home safe, get a taxi in case something else might happen to them. So, it's not like telling people, well, you can't do that and you can't do this and you can't do the other. But it's saying if you're going to do it responsibly and make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
So we're definitely not trying to tell people not to drink, but we're just trying to warn them.
Make them aware so they can make an informed choice about it. All
right, good stuff. So today, 12:15, you're having an event to launch the QR code, beer mats and the leaflets. I think the QR code and the beer mats is a really, really fantastic idea, genuinely. And also then brochures being sent out to all schools, which I think is very worthwhile. And then you mentioned the talks too. So we've covered it all. Listen, the YSI Teen Spirit Project, fair play to you and fair play to all the teachers and Maria Boyce there supporting you in TY. It's a good one.
Yeah. We'd also like to thank our local county councillor, Rena Donaghy, who funded our project and helped us reach a wider audience.
All right, good stuff. Well done to you. Go ahead. Sorry, Ruby.
Thank you for having us on, and we're grateful we reached a wider audience thanks to Highland Radio.
Now, you read that. I hope you bloody believe it and it's not just something you were told to say.
Deep down.
Okay. Listen, thanks very much, guys. Well done. Brilliant. I love it. Great ideas. That's the excellent Eva Graham and Ruby Gillespie, and I think teacher Marie Boyce was in and around the background there, giving the girls a bit of support. Not that they needed it. They were fantastic, weren't they?
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Have you got denture problems? Donegal Denture Clinic can help. Situated beside Rawson College at Ballyrain, Letterkenny. They customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Free consultations. Call 9125253. Medical cards accepted. Did you know medical card holders can now get dentures every 5 years? For all your denture needs, see donegaldentureclinic.ie or call 9125253.
Our McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ourmccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. Our McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
Every year, about 2,600 people in Ireland get bowel cancer. Bowel screening helps to reduce your risk of developing it. The age range for bowel screen is changing. If you're aged 59 to 69, register for a free bowel screen test kit. Once you've done the test at home, return it by free post and we'll test your sample. If you need follow-up tests, we'll let you know. Register today at bowelscreen.ie or free phone 1800 45 45 55 from the HSC.
If you're with FBD Insurance and your van gets robbed, it's not a flippin' bloomin' disaster. That's not what FBD stands for. FBD stands for support. We support van owners like you by covering your work tools up to the value of €500 if they're stolen with your van. FBD Insurance. Support. It's what we do. Visit your local branch to talk to your FBD Insurance team. Requires valid van theft claim. Excludes electronics and software. T's and C's and normal underwriting criteria apply. Underwritten by FBD Insurance plc. FBD Insurance Group Limited, trading as FBD Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. With over 50 years of serving the community in Donegal, McElhinney's is proud to be part of every moment, big and small. Support local, shop McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
Today, cool and breezy with scattered showers and some sunny spells. Temperatures 9 to 11 degrees. As we edge towards the weekend, though, we are going to see much less rainfall than we'd even expected this time of year. It could last quite some time too, and the weather nice and warm on Saturday and improving even further on Sunday. How much sunshine we'll get, we shall see. Balumi Duby is the Think Equality and Development Officer with the Donegal Intercultural Platform, and he's in studio with me. Good morning to you, Balumi.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Thanks so much for joining us. And you really are out endorsing and backing the comments of the Forza Trade Union leader. This on a greater need for diversity in the public sector. Talk to me about where we're at, where you believe we need to be.
I suppose we need equal representation of all groups in Donegal and well across Ireland. Our belief is that the island is diverse and that should be represented in all sort of facets of social life. So even within employment circles as well, that there should be a reflection of that, because we run the risk of creating a social underclass of people that are not represented in areas where in decision-making sort of platforms. Yeah.
And some might say, with the best will in the world, no, I'm in this job for all. But really, I suppose, unless you are part of a community or that community, really, you want to be advocating on behalf of your community rather than asking members of another community necessarily to do that.
Well, I assuming that there are certain groups that are not part of the community, So is that the assumption you're making? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't make it very clear.
Yeah.
I mean, like you could have. My point being is that the only way I think, if I were a member of a minority community, the only way I would truly feel represented is if I saw people similar to me in these positions.
True. That's very true. I suppose. People tend to sort of feel comfortable and have faith in systems where they know that there are people that look like them, that also, sort of have got the same feelings as they have. So the absence of people that look like you in an institution also reduces the faith that you have in that institution. So by employing groups, particularly from the PME community, including travellers and Roma, you're actually cultivating this idea of diversity and the fact that everybody can be treated equally. Yes,
I presume and I would hope that when jobs are advertised or if there's elected roles that are available, that everyone can apply, regardless of what community you are a part of. Do you think that's happening? In other words, do you think members of the BME community, travellers, member of the Roma community, need to also be putting themselves forward for these posts, or do you think they need to be sought out?
I think you obviously have to create proactive. You need proactive approaches to this, because I suppose there's not one person to blame. If we're to blame the community itself for not applying, then we'll be saying, well, it's your fault. That's the reason why this is happening. But you need to create systems that actually encourage people to apply.
So we've seen recently with the Garda, where in the last couple of rounds of recruitment, they actively targeted different communities. That's what you're talking about, is it? Yeah.
So it should be a scientific approach, a really active approach to encourage certain groups of people to actually apply, and also understanding why they've not been applying, if that's the case, or why they've not been recruited. Because in this case, we don't know whether it's a question of them not applying or is them not being recruited as such. So you need to create a system where you actually know the reason why.
Or even people could perceive there's no point me applying, so they don't have a chance.
Yes.
Now, that could be a false assumption, but it has to be challenged, so we get to where we are.
Yes.
There's a quote here: if people can't see minority faces, people like themselves in these institutions, they will not have faith, they will not feel included. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
I suppose there's a lot of truth in saying that. People feel strongly represented where they find faces that are familiar or faces that look like them. So what we find in Donegal, or particularly in public institutions or public entities, that's where the biggest problem is, and not all of them anyway, because remember with the health sector, you find that there are more than 117 people from different nationalities. 117.
It's almost overrepresented.
Yes, and also what you find in those particular institutions where there's diversity, you find that there is an overload of creativity as well. There's different, that's exactly where the places where we need to go and learn how they are doing it and how it's functioning, and in fact use that as an example of how systems can be better if they've got diverse groups of people.
And a lot of work is happening in that regard through NGOs in the communities and what have you, but really it's taking a look now and throwing the focus over to public sector, public recruitment, and saying, look, this is what's happening, on a voluntary basis, or in communities. You need to be doing something more formally here.
Yes, I find that we at Donegal Intercultural Platform, we are part of the BME strategy to inclusion. And one of the things that we're driving is that this should not be a task that should be done by NGOs, because we have done quite a lot of, advocating for groups, the minority groups. And that cuts across all 10 groups, across 10 grounds of discrimination. We're not just saying that they should be BME groups and that. We're saying that everybody, that minority groups that have not been included, whether it's the disabled or the LGBTQI+, any groups that feel that they're on the periphery of, of being included, but they are not being included. So public entities should represent all those groups of people that have not been a part of employment so far.
All right. As I say, it was Forza that was speaking out on this new Bellumi as part of the Donegal Intercultural Platform, backing what they're saying. Right. Okay. We shall see. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap up?
Nothing much, but just the fact that you've got about 11,477 people who were born outside the state and that live here in Donegal. And that says a lot in terms of what work needs to be done and the kind of representation that needs to be there within public entities. There's still a lot of work to be done, and that's not work that should be done by NGOs only, but it should cut across society. Yes.
Okay, listen, Thank you very much for that. Thanks for calling up. That's
thank you.
Bellumi Dooby there, who is a Think Equality and Development Officer with the Donegal Intercultural Platform. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number if you want to talk on that, or call us on 07491 25,000. Just one comment there as it relates to the local authority councillors who lost their seat or retired. This after the last elections. There is a severance payment, and it's almost as high as those for former government ministers. This was part of an investigation done by one of the newspapers. A councillor who served just one term of 5 years and who lost their seat or otherwise decided to quit gets a lump sum of 16,724. If they serve 2 terms over 10 years, they get 33,448, and the payments rise on up in 5-year hitches of to 63,968 for those who have served 40 years on the council. So those are the payments that were received after last term's local elections. Back with more after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Mark here from Highland Motors with an invite to our Citroen Van Showcase Week, which is now on. If you're an electrician or a plumber, a delivery driver or a company director, we have a van to suit you. Our full range will be available for test drives, including our car-derived vans, with all the comfort of a passenger car and all the space of a van. That's our Citroen Van Showcase Week, on until this Saturday the 20th at Highland Motors, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
I've been surfing all morning at FlemingLTD.com to find out about Fleming Doors, Fleming Steel and Fleming Coatings and their full range of products. So come surfing with me at FlemingLTD.com. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Cholu is a tán cléthe lech cheannis búta agat. Tá sin an thirst chuig an cléthe cheannis. Comán sa láva, an bus lán de rogarí, cordas a chochu a bhar go deo. Ag clachta don bhéal tríal gweilge an tlí. Cad a rinne tú an deir seachtainna seo? An deir seachtainna seachata? Cad a dhéanann tú gach deir seachtainna? An bhuireann ar fada goire, mar is é an freagra céine a gcónaí é, ag immert cmógaíochta. Is iad na nóméid bheaga a bharan ar fag de chéal. Créimhce mianúr cmógaíochta Electric Ireland is scéal móra.
Have you got denture problems? Donegal Denture Clinic can help. Situated beside Rawson College at Ballyrain, Letterkenny. They customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Free consultations. Call 9125 253. Medical cards accepted. Did you know medical card holders can now get dentures every 5 years? For all your denture needs, see donegaldentureclinic.ie or call 9125 253.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
Walk the line with the award-winning Johnny Cash and June Carter tribute show Cash Returns, live at the Strual Arts Centre Oma on Saturday 20th of April and at the Ballard Arts Theatre Ballybuffet on Saturday 4th of May. Limited tickets on sale now at both box offices. That's Cash Returns at the Strual Arts Centre Oma on Saturday 20th of April and at the Ballard Arts Theatre Ballybuffet on Saturday 4th of May.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with news at 10 o'clock. Cahirlock of Donegal County Council is concerned that the deposit return scheme is harming small businesses. The money back scheme was introduced for plastic drink bottles and cans on February 1st. Councillor Martin Harley says the installation of reverse vending machines is costly and some small retailers are absorbing the levy cost in a bid to retain customers.
I just feel that it may be affecting small businesses that can't afford to put in the machines. Is that the small retailers that sell, that they have to put the extra 15 and 25 cents onto the bottles and cans, is that they can't afford machines. Machines cost around 40 to 50,000 and that people will take the plastic bottles back to the multinationals and do their shopping there.
The North's Education Minister has promised to give an update to West Tyrone MLA Melissa McHugh on the need for more capacity at Knockavo Special Education School in Strabane. Minister Paul Given updated Mr McHugh on education projects in West Tyrone, including confirmation that works at Gale School Ugarty in Strabane will be complete in June of this year, while work is progressing on the Strual Education Campus in Oma, the biggest education project currently underway in Northern Ireland. Mr Given also outlined progress on another number of school projects in the area.
St Catherine's Primary School Strabane has an approved business case, and Dean McGurk College in Carrickmore, it was paused in 2023 and it remains so. Drumragh Integrated College Oma is currently in design stage. St Mary's Primary School, Clocker and Strabane Primary School are progressing in design and business case stages respectively under the school enhancement programmes. In terms of the specific school that the member raises around capacity, I'm more than happy to follow up in writing to give the member a detailed response to that question.
40% of police station inquiry offices in Northern Ireland are to close, including the Waterside branch in Derry. The police service says it's facing unprecedented financial pressure and the cuts are necessary. It says over 90% of households will still be within 15 miles of a front desk. The Donegal Mountain Rescue Team were tasked by Garda Síochána to assist a walker who sustained a lower leg injury on Loch Salt over the weekend. The alarm was raised at around 1:20 on Saturday afternoon, and the team made their way to the casualty using location technology and with the assistance of other walkers in the group. Tara Duggan reports.
After stabilising the injured leg, the remainder of the walking group were sent down the mountain as the weather deteriorated. As a second rescue team made their way to assist with the casualties' evacuation, they'd gotten caught in a heavy hail shower. After securing the injured person in the stretcher, both teams proceeded to descend the hill. As the weather continued to worsen, they were forced off the path as it was unsuitable for transporting the stretcher, resulting in several detours. Call-out coordinators at the base of the mountain had requested an ambulance. The casualty was successfully transported off the hill and taken to hospital for further treatment. The team was stood down at 17:50 p.m.
Nursing Homes Ireland says we need to motivate government and society in general to shape the future of care in this country. It's launching a new strategy today to develop the best way forward in caring for our ageing population. CEO Tag Daly says planning and resources are a necessity.
Funding is a key part. It's not the only part, but it is a key part of what we would term as fixing the sector currently. But also I think recognition of those who work in the sector, the caring committed professionals need to be recognised for the professionalism and the commitment they bring to the sector and rewarded. So again, it's back to the funding issue.
60 PhD scholarships have been announced by Atlantic Technological University under the TU RISE scheme. It aims to build research capacity between academia and regional enterprises in the West and Northwest. The scholarships cover a broad range of disciplines such as advanced manufacturing and engineering, agri-food and agri-tech, and medtech and medical devices. Applications are now open. More information can be found on our website, highlandradio.com. Today will be cool and breezy with scattered showers and some sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees in a moderate to fresh to northwesterly breeze. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. Back again with headlines at 11 o'clock. The obituary notices this Tuesday morning, April 16th. The death has taken place of Catherine Veronica Vonnie Leyden, ní Bonar, Áthí Galt, Drumkeen. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. House private pleas to family and close friends at the request of the deceased. Funeral leaving from there on Thursday at 10:30 for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Drumkeen, followed by interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, funeral director. The death has taken place of Susan Blaney, ní Brown, Cheer Hummin, Milford, reposing at the residence of her grandson Declan and Cosh Alcorn, Cheer Hummin, Milford. Funeral service tomorrow at 2 p.m. in Fanet Presbyterian Church, Kerrykiel. Burial afterwards in Milford Presbyterian Cemetery. Funeral service can be viewed on Patrick Sweeney, funeral director's Facebook page. Family time from 10 p.m. tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The death has occurred of Bridie McBurty, 149 Church Road, Killybegs, reposing at her residence today from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. Removal tomorrow morning at 10:30 to St Mary of the Visitation Church, Killybegs, for 11 a.m. funeral mass. Burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Mass will be streamed live at mcn.live. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Killybegs Community Hospital, care of any family member or McBurty funeral directors. The death has taken place of John Joseph Sean McKeever, late of 8 Muldoona Road, Claudy, County Derry, reposing at his late home. Family time from 10 p.m. tonight. Funeral from his late home tomorrow morning at 10:10 for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Cloddy. Interment immediately afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only please. Donations if wished in lieu to Mary Curie, care of McLaughlin Funeral Directors, Dungiven. The death has occurred of Patrick Gallagher, 2 Mill Street, Newton Stewart, reposing at the family home. Funeral from there this morning at 10:15 for Requiem Mass at 11 a.m. in St Eugene's Church, Glenorch. Interment afterwards in Glenorch Cemetery. The death has taken place of Derek Wilkinson, Creasla and Bray, County Wicklow. No wake, house private please. His service of thanksgiving will be held at St John's Church, Ballymore today at 2:30 with burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Lake House Nursing Home Comfort Fund, care of James Harkin Funeral Director. The death has occurred of John Joe Breslin of Upper Monargan, Ardra. Removal from the home of his sister Breege Diver, Upper Monargan, Ardra today for 12 p.m. Requiem Mass in the Church of the Holy Family, Ardra, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed on mcn.live. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Ready to feast your ears on the sizzle of success? Ireland's most awarded specially selected steak range from Aldi. 100% Irish board beef, quality assured. Strip loin for $2 for just $9.99. Or how about dry aged Black Angus ribeye? The best ribeye in Ireland. 2 for just $13.99. Sounds good. Tastes even better. Go all Aldi while stocks last.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local Original News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show with Greg Hughes.
Okay, coming up very shortly, stay with us. We've got the very latest appeals and information from An Garda Síochána. Also, too, as part of the item this week, there's been conversations over the last couple of weeks about modified cars and insurance and what have you. We have a member of An Garda Síochána who is an expert in this regard as well. So we'll be answering any questions on about modified cars, legality, illegality and all of that kind of stuff. If you have any questions on modded cars, by the way, please get them into us, 086 60 25,000. I'll try and get some answers for you. I'm sure I will. Some clarity for you where required. Dolores on Facebook. Good morning to you, Dolores. Always great to have you on board, by the way. I do note the regulars. Oh my God, Greg, I've just joined our broadband, but trying to get through to a member of staff and add my phone number. It's a no-go. It's a wait of 20 minutes or more. So annoying if there's so many staff working and I just get cut off again and again, sitting in limbo. I tried to add my phone number myself and blocked myself. So it's just hard to crack on my part. Now my first payment is ready to be taken and I was told of this yesterday. Thank you for taking this up on your show. Maybe Air would see this comment from myself. Well, fingers crossed, Dolores, probably not likely. But ironically, maybe with this attention that has been focused on Air as a result of this court case, maybe they might improve things. So good morning to Dolores, Beth, Kathy, Anthony, Grania, amongst the hundreds watching the show as well. Very good to have you on board. If you're watching at home, or if you're at home, you can watch us on your big screen TV, your smart TV, or your Fire Stick if you have one of those. We are on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland. We're also across the X platform, broadcasting across the world. Good to have you on board there as well. And on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland News and Sport. And indeed, there's a watch live button on the website, our own website, which I don't mention enough perhaps. My husband was called for an appointment in early March of this year for a heart issue in Letterkenny University Hospital, says one of our listeners. He looked for that appointment 8 years ago in March 2016. Had he have had that appointment in 2016, he may not have had the damage he has now. 8 years, wow. We were talking about the return scheme. I used the machine the first time last week, was pleased with it, and it gave me a voucher which I was able to take off my groceries price. Indeed. And I suppose whilst we, and it's like everything in life as well, while we highlight where things need improvement or there are deficiencies, it is accepted that for some it works really well, or that there is positivity as well, by the way. I think that's clear to most people. It should be anyway. McFadden's in Ramelton gives you money back, okay. I bought water in Lidl with the deposit on it, took them to the recycling in Duns and the machine wouldn't accept them, ended up putting them in the bin rather than taking them home again. This recycling scheme's a scam, believes the listener. Everyone pays the extra charge, the government gets the money, and then the hiccups and the rejections end in frustration and no money back. There's as much being dumped along the road and in forests now than ever. Maybe it will take a time to bed in. I don't know. A much simpler scheme system should have offered a receipt or cash offer in return. A caller says in relation to Simon Harris, I hope he hurries up and goes to Paris, etc. as nobody wants him here. Simon Harris will not be missed. That comes in from Mary. Simon Harris has a great deal of support, Mary, but I take your point, not amongst you. Hi, Greg asked what can be done to reduce road deaths. When the Garda were in charge of road speeding checks, there was a lot less speeding and dangerous driving. Speed detection vans are easily seen and predictable as to where they are or where they'll be sighted. And when stopped by Garda for speeding, other offences can be detected. It really is a no-brainer. Of course, I think the majority of us know where the vans are. If you wanted to speed between the vans, you know, it wouldn't be very hard to do. I'm not endorsing or condoning that. I'm just saying that's a reality. Greg, roads. I think the main problem on the roads are persons not paying attention to their driving. Mobile phones, changing the radio, etc. Plus the fact of us being driven on the roads that we are used to is one thing. But for the persons that are driving on roads they wouldn't be familiar with, that's another issue. I couldn't imagine going to a country where I never drove in before and got behind the wheel of a vehicle. I'd need to be very familiar with my surroundings, that's for sure. Well, I drove in Spain once and... this is not contradict you, it's just to have the convo like we might if we were sitting in your kitchen. Like when I drove in Spain, I was extra careful because we were on the wrong side of the road in inverted commas. I was extra careful of my lane discipline. I was extra careful of T-junctions and roundabouts because that's where the challenge was. So I actually found myself, sometimes I think when you drive, you can sort of, as much as you would try to stay focused. I mean, have you ever drove somewhere and then you're there and you've been thinking and you wonder, well, that went quick. Whereas if I'm driving in unfamiliar surroundings, I find that I'm more switched on. Greg, of course, Simon Harris is 100% correct in what he said. He was being honest in saying that he was of a generation that are more familiar with Berlin or London than Belfast or Derry. He's trying to open up a discussion on this and make people of his generation more aware of Belfast and Derry, and I recognise that and I get that. But it doesn't talk to the people that Derry and Belfast are just as much part of our lives as, I say, more part of our lives than Dublin and Cork. My point is, if you're a leader for all, you should choose your language more carefully, and you should say, I'm of a generation in some parts of this country, and language matters, and people, you're being fussy, but language does matter. You layer it on top of one thing after another. The messaging is vital. The government have, mostly former journalists who sold out for the money. They have hundreds of journalists working for them who should have the knowledge to say, by the way, do you know when you're speaking or you're choosing your language, we just have to be conscious that there are people further north in the country that are very familiar with Derry and Belfast, and in using the words that you're using like you are, you could be disenfranchising them. So say what you're going to say, because the point you're making is pretty good, right? But just let's change the language a little bit and say in some parts of this country. That's it. Messaging. Simple. Then it feels like a leader for all in inverted commas. And anyway, it's not something, there's so much going on in this world. It's not something I'm too bothered by. I just get frustrated at the simple things too sometimes. Good morning, Craig. Limiters on all cars is the only way to go. They also say speed kills. Well, let's take away the speed. We don't need speed if people don't like it. Let them take public travel. They'll soon come around. More visible Garda on the roads, more checkpoints. Haven't seen one since COVID. Drove to Dublin a few times from Gore to Hawk last week. You see no one. Crazy driving on the roads. That comes in from Cal. Cal, I drove down to Dublin for that Donegal Person of the Year Awards, and excuse me, I didn't see a single Garda car, and I was looking out for them. And also, too, which I thought was quite interesting, the rally. Where was the rally on 2 weeks ago? Was it Monaghan? I think it might have been on in Monaghan. Was it Monaghan 2 weeks ago? Drove through Monaghan and there were thousands of cars lining the street and vroom, vroom, vroom and all that kind of stuff. No one misbehaving. Didn't see one single Garda vehicle going up and down through Monaghan. And this was on the Saturday and the Sunday. And it was wedged with cars. So in all of that journey and going through an actual rally, I didn't see a car. of a Garda car. In terms of road safety, the roads must be safe. I saw one Go Safe van as well. In terms of road safety, the roads must be safe for cars to drive on, potholes, etc. I agree with you, and I hope you recognise that. I think I've said this on the show a number of times. We need to be talking more about also the other contributing factor is road conditions. A caller says young men's brains don't stop developing until they are 26. Australian studies in road collisions show young men don't have a mature sense of fear until 26, so they drive like mad, as they've no fear when that young. I don't know. I can only go from the boys that are around me. They're pretty switched on, but I take your point. It's the study.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday, the 16th of April. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S17. It's game number 16. The numbers are 4, 51, 90, 18, 62, 52, 2, 43, 71, and finally 79. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Charge into summer with TUI. Secure your holiday today with savings for families and adults flying from Dublin, Cork and Shannon. Holiday sorted. TUI. Live happy.
At Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure, we know a good pair of trainers makes all the difference. Whether you're running marathons or training for your first 5K, we stock all the leading brands, including Asics, Brooks and New Balance, with different styles and features to suit individual running needs. Call in store or shop online at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Never has the need for reliable, trustworthy journalism been greater. If you are a journalism or media student who is about to graduate and are looking to kickstart your career in news or sports, the Learning Waves Journalism Graduate Programme is for you. Learning Waves, along with Commission Oman and SkillNet Ireland, are offering 10 graduates the opportunity to work in one of Ireland's independent radio stations for a period of 5 months from September 2024. You will work alongside the news and sports editor in the station to learn real workplace skills and judgment and to get your voice heard. You will also undertake a tailored training program devised by Learning Waves. So if you want to progress your journalism career, apply online now at learningwaves.ie. Closing date May 24th.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127. The Community Garda information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, protecting what you value most. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91260025.
It's 10:20 on this Tuesday, the 16th of April, 2024. It's time for Community Garda information, and we've got two guests in studio with us today. We have our usual guest, Garda Sean Sweeney from the Buncrana Garda Station. Sean, good morning to you. You'll be going through the usual appeals and information. We're also joined by Sergeant Michael Kilcoyne from the Ballybofey Garda Station to discuss car modifications. That's coming a little bit later on. Michael, what will you want to be talking about when we get to you?
It'll be just in relation to the modified vehicles or modifications to vehicles. So the likes of your tinted windows, changes to suspensions, but not just alone modifications such as that. But say an individual's doing up a vehicle and they make modifications to the original specifications from the manufacturer.
Brilliant.
So that's what I was
Okay, so as I say, along those general lines, if you want to get involved in the conversation, please feel free to text us now on 086 60 25,000 and Sergeant Kilcoyne will, of course, endeavour to answer all questions. Okay, but we'll start with our appeals. And firstly, Sean, a burglary in Letterkenny. Gardaí seeking the public's assistance in this regard.
Yeah, Greg, this occurred at Oaklands Park, Letterkenny, between 3:30pm and 5:30pm on Monday, the 8th of April. The rear window of the vacant property smashed and entry was gained. There was an attempt to steal a copper cylinder but this was abandoned outside the property, but there was water damage caused inside of the house. So appeal to anybody who may have observed suspicious activity on that day to contact Letterkenny on 074 91 67 100, or alternatively the confidential line on 1800 666 111.
Now, there is a theft and a recovery of a car in Letterkenny, the subject of the next... Look,
we're looking for assistance. Theft of a black Mercedes E-Series. The parcel registration of 161D166. This was taken from Carnamugga Close in Letterkenny on Wednesday, the 10th of April, shortly after 11 p.m. It was then located on the Pierce Road on Friday, the 12th of April at 4:45 a.m. So appeal to anybody who observed the car being driven at any stage between those dates to contact Garda in Letterkenny, or if you believe you may have captured some dashcam footage again on those dates, contact Letterkenny on again 67100 or the confidential line.
And we did speak to the owner of that car on the show last week. I think it was Friday, actually. It's still available on the podcast, and it just gives an insight into the mechanism that was employed for the taking of that car. It had originally been advertised on Facebook Marketplace, again, separate to the Garda appeal, but that might be interesting for those who want to avoid being caught out themselves. Right, now your colleagues in Buncrana investigating a theft?
Yeah, this occurred at the Caravan Park in the Loddon area between 10 p.m. on Monday, the 8th of April, and 7 a.m. on Tuesday, the 9th of April. 2 doors were stolen from the caravan in the park between those times. There's no entry gained and nothing was stolen from within. So appeal to anybody who observed any suspicious activity in the area between Monday night and Tuesday morning to contact Garda McCrossan on 93-20540.
All right, now we're focusing on a theft in the Cullion Road area.
Yeah, Garda contact by the resident there. It's in relation to theft at approximately 2 a.m. on Sunday the 14th of April at their home. The caller observed a male at the rear of the property at the time, and we realised he'd been seen. He took off on foot. The caller later realised that a bank card had been stolen from the car, which had been unlocked. So we appeal to other residents in the area to make contact with us in Letterkenny on 67100 if they observed male and foot in the area in the early hours of Sunday morning, approximately 2 a.m. Or if anybody travelling that area around that time with dashcam footage, we ask them please make it available to us.
Yeah, of course. And unfortunately, this does serve as a reminder that even though our vehicles might be close to our houses or what we deem to be in a safe place, they have to be secured.
Exactly, Greg. Yeah, look, please ensure it's locked at all times, and if it's left unattended, even if it's parked at home or a public place, please make sure there's no cash or valuables in it, and just in relation to your keys, keep them out of sight and away from your windows at home.
Yeah, indeed. Right, now, your colleagues in Moville focusing on a criminal damage incident.
Yeah, appealing for witnesses to this criminal damage at the Market Square in Moville. This happened approximately 9:15 p.m. on Sunday the 14th of April. 2 men who were believed to be intoxicated are reported to cause damage to the flower beds in the area around that time. So if anybody observed this incident, we'd like to speak to them. Again, anybody who may have dashcam footage that was driving through the Market Square in Moville on Sunday between the hours of 8:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m, we'd appreciate their assistance. So you could call Buncrana on 93-20540.
And maybe those responsible are feeling a little bit fresher and regret their actions, and they could help.
We'd hope so.
I think in coming forward, you would hope so indeed. Right, okay, criminal damage now in Carndonagh.
Yeah, this was an attempted theft of the premises on the Church Road, Carndonagh, on Sunday the 14th of April, shortly before midday. So CCTV is being collected and viewed, but we also wish to appeal for dashcam footage from that area on the date between the hours of 11:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. We're particularly interested in sightings or dashcam footage of a silver beige Skoda Octavia that was in the area at the time. So we'd ask if anybody could assist us with this, call Buncrana on 93-20540 or the confidential line again, 1800 666 111.
All right, next one. You're not going to get it on the Dublin Community Garda slot, I don't think, but look, if we can help, we can help.
Exactly, Greg. Yeah, we're contacted by a landowner in the Fanamore, Falcara area in relation to 8 sheep that have been in his land for the past few days, and he doesn't know who owns them. He's asked around locally, but he can't locate the owner. We're hoping that the owner might hear appeal today and contact Garda in Milford on 9153060.
Yeah, and we've had it in the past, not too distant past, in fact, whereby someone can suspect their animals have been stolen and they turn up on land close by. This is Fanamore, Falcara, 8 sheep. So if you're missing 8 sheep, and it's that time of year where I think everyone's counting their sheep at this stage and their lambs, get in touch with the Gardaí and they can put you in contact with that landowner. All right, some questions that have come in over the last wee while, and maybe you can help, Sean. Do tow companies have to report a crash? Because we were talking also, this might be unrelated, but we were also talking about how there was one listener whose fence keeps getting damaged, right? And by the time they come on the damage, the car's gone.
Yes.
So presumably this triggered this kind of a conversation if the car's being towed by an official tow company. Could be a tractor, it could be anything. But do tow companies have an obligation or a role in reporting a crash?
Well, the short answer is no. The obligation is not on the tow company, but it's on the drivers involved to report the collision. So if you're involved in a collision, you have to stay at the scene. You have to remain there for a reasonable amount of time. You provide information to Garda if they're present at the scene, such as your name and address, the address where the car is kept, the name and address of the car owner, the registration and the motor insurance details. But if there are Garda present, this information can be provided and passed through the injured person or someone's been hurt, or again, maybe the owner of the fence there, you're obliged to give the information to them, or a person asking on their behalf, again, the owner of the property. And if none of these are present, it's an independent person. But if there's no independent person, call the Garda station. You're obliged to report to the Garda. So ring into the station, just say you've been involved in this and give your details.
If you knock a fence over and you leave, you are officially leaving the scene of an accident.
That's correct,
You
yeah.
know, and
you're
all the
liable for
consequences
damage,
of that. Yeah, okay. A caller wanted to know, can you cross a white line to overtake a bike?
Well, if we're going down by the rules of the road as they're written, if there's a single or double continuous white line along the centre of the road, all traffic must keep to the left of the lane except in an emergency. Look, we just say it's best.
I was going to say that's going to be a long drive from Carragart to.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So depending on the location, look, it's best to wait till it's safe to overtake. There's road markings there for a reason. We just ask never put any cyclists or other road user at risk, and just be aware that there are penalty points for crossing continuous white line. But again, the circumstances of that will come into play.
Yeah, okay, right. Thanks very much for that. Really do appreciate it. That's Garda, Sean Swinney from the Buncrana Garda station. We're joined also in studio, as I mentioned, by Sergeant Michael Kilcoyne from the Ballybofey Garda station to discuss car modifications. And do you come at this, Michael, as a car lover yourself?
Yeah, I've been involved with cars since I was very young myself. I have a couple of vehicles in the shed that I've had over the last couple of years, vintage cars, so something I have a keen interest in.
Yeah, and so also you would be with me in agreeing that we're talking about car modifications. It's not necessarily the same as those that drive dangerously on the roads or those that might be deemed girl or boy racers. You know, we recognise there is a community out there that their love is their car.
Oh, totally. There's a community out there that they'll build a vehicle from the ground up, in nut and bolt restoration as it's known, and these vehicles are their pride and joy. They're like it's a small minority that is on the roads that are causing issues. We're not saying that a modified vehicle is somebody that's out there that is causing trouble on the roads. So, like when we look at it, like a modification of a vehicle is if you make a change to the manufacturer's original design, such as changing the engine, the suspension, brakes, are sort of the three main factors there. But any modification you do make must be carried out to an appropriate safety standard and by a professional garage.
So, say for instance, you drop the car, lower the car, and maybe change the wheels. That's not how Audi sent the car out, or whatever car it might be. How can you do that to comply with the law?
So, to comply with say for the point of insurance aspects. So, essentially, any modification that is breaking the law. So, say, will cause your insurance to be and can cause insurance to be invalidated. So that is changes to suspension, tinted windows that restrict more than 65% of sunlight, sound modifiers, and illegal changes to wheels is one of the ones covered by the insurance companies. So if you lower your vehicle and put on, we'll say, larger wheels from what came as a manufacturer, that can affect the steering. It could cause that the vehicle is rubbing along the inner arches, which when you're driving on we'll say, a back road or a road that is of an uneven gradient, that the vehicle is, your turning circle is reduced, or you come across a hazard, you're not able to react as well at the time.
And that car would have gone through safety testing and what have you. And you can see it stamped in different parts of the vehicle or what have you about how many passengers, how it deals with passengers, the weight distribution, and how that the relationship between that and the brakes and all that kind of stuff. Is there any way that you can do that is legal? Like, say you notify, say you were able to get the car insured. Does it have to be fit to pass the NCT as it's driven around 365 days of the year?
Yeah, so any vehicle that has a modification, if it passes the NCT, it is at an appropriate standard.
Right.
But if you do make modifications, there is individuals out there, they are engineers or an automotive engineer assessor who can go and certify your vehicle. Once that is certified, you can give that cert to your insurance company that the vehicle is up to a standard to be on the road.
And do a lot of people do that, do you think?
Some people, from the aspect of the car scene in relation to your vintage vehicles and that, a lot of people would, if they're making modifications to changes of engines or say an individual who has bought a passenger Jeep who changes it to a commercial Jeep.
Yep.
They be the more in line as what you see would be going to these automotive engineer assessors to get that.
And what about sort of if you bring in a rare Japanese car where the template might not be as clear?
Yeah, so any vehicle that comes in is there's a certificate of conformability from the manufacturer. So the likes of, we'd say, Japanese vehicles, once they come into the country, they're obviously VRT'd. They go through the process of being imported, and they'll have to go through an NCT like any other vehicle. So once they pass their NCT, they're allowed to be on the road. Yep. Now again, it's the modifications that we're talking about are modifications that affect the safety standard of the vehicle. So if you have a vehicle on the road where we say excessively tinted windows, so some people don't see this as an issue, but it's like, for example, we say wearing sunglasses at night. At least the sunglasses can be taken off, but with the tinted windows, they're permanently on the vehicle.
In relation to that, a caller says, "Hi Greg, what's the law with regards to windscreen tinting? Some cars driving around with tints on all windows, impossible to identify the driver. Is there any level of tinting that's permitted on the front passenger and windscreen?"
Yes, so on the front 3 windows, so on the driver, passenger side and front windscreen, it has to allow 65% of light through the windscreen or side windows. So saying that if you look on your windscreen, there's a little CCC number, and there is a percentage of tint already in the glass.
I get you.
So if you add an additional tint, you will be bringing, the majority of them do bring it below what is the legal requirement. But
in your experience, say someone who's just right on the limit, how does that appear sort of outwardly looking at the windscreen? It's obviously tinted, is it?
Yeah, okay. There's ones there that there is tint on the vehicle, and it is so light, it is nearly impossible to say that the windscreen is tinted.
Understood, right.
Like what we have to take into account is if you permanently tint your glass to an excessive level, while it might improve your ability to drive in bright sunlight, it will restrict your view in dark conditions. And this may prevent you from seeing other motorists or pedestrians, especially in and around the town area. And I've been at an accident recently enough where, as a result of the windscreen being so excessively tinted, he wasn't able to see a pedestrian crossing the road. Yeah. So like it is a...
I don't think anyone knowingly wants to put themselves in that position.
No, I don't think anyone is doing it to cause an issue for themselves or anyone else. But I think it's just more that it's the aesthetics of the vehicle. They think it looks better, but they have to look at the health and safety side of it as well.
In relation to the privacy glass, rear window, rear passenger windows,
they can be tinted as dark as you want. It's the same as if you have your commercial vehicle. The 3 back could be a steel, so those 3 back windows are
so
okay.
Just in relation to modifications here and sort of the role in the Garda, right? So say, and a caller says my son's changed the exhaust in his car, does that count as modified, right? So it does, because you've mentioned that, right? But so say he lowers the car and puts on an exhaust, doesn't notify the insurance company, and in the event of a claim, it certainly could void elements of his insurance. Yes. But what's the role in the Garda as the in-between in relation to that, right? So if I pull up to a checkpoint and it's clear I've no insurance, it's very clear what your role is, okay?
Yes.
But you might not be aware that I haven't informed the insurance company of these modifications or they've accepted them, or is there a role in Garda on the side of the road in that regard?
So in relation to, we've had a lot of advances with our mobility apps, and that we can see a vehicle is insured. But if we come across an issue with the vehicle, we say that we believe that there is an element where a disclosure has been made to an insurance company. So when you take out your insurance, the insurance company asks you, is there any modifications to the vehicle? So you say yes or no. So if we find a vehicle that is heavily modified and we believe that it's a health and safety issue, or we believe that the individual hasn't disclosed this, we can make inquiries with the insurance company. But a lot of the time is on the side of the road, if we stop a driver who has excessively tinted windows, we can give them the option to remove it there and then, which a lot of drivers will take that opportunity to remove the tint. In relation to the exhaust, again, if it doesn't pass the NCT, it won't pass. But
a lot of people switch out springs and exhausts.
Yes, it's something that is, in the last number of years, it has started to increase again. We are out on the roads, we are engaging with these drivers, and a lot of it is trying to engage with these drivers and provide them with the knowledge of what is right and what is wrong.
It's a toughie, isn't it? Because you do know the majority of these people just really love their cars. That's where they spend all the money. And we kind of started the conversation with that, and it's their pride in enjoying their baby, and they do nothing to sort of damage it, right? Yes. But the way it is in this country, a lot of the times they are having to drive illegally.
Yes, a lot of people out there who make these modifications don't realise they have to notify their insurance. And like, if you are involved in a road traffic collision, an insurance company can see that as an added risk that they weren't notified of. And so if your pride and joy, you are unfortunately involved in an accident and nobody else is involved, it's just yourself, the insurance companies can reduce the amount of the payout they give you. They could decide that because you didn't notify them of the modifications, that they'll only give you 50% of the value of the vehicle as part of the risk element that was incorporated into them not being notified. So there is those elements there as well in relation to you making the modifications but not notifying the insurance.
A caller says every other car in Donegal has a non-standard number plate. Is that a modification or not? Oh, I like this. I might change my number plates. He's wobbling, Caroline. Get me the number plate, man.
So in relation to number plates, the number plate has to be within the regulations of the NCT. That is your blue IRL with the standard font, which is that we can read. You see number plates out there that are tinted. You see number plates out there that are, the writing on them is hard to decipher. So they are number plates where we will stop the driver, we will engage with the driver and provide them with the correct information that they need.
Same with the tint. You're not looking to do people on the spot there.
No, but they do tint their number plates as well, where we actually physically can't read the number plate. So those number plates, if we can't read it, it's an illegal number plate. So we will engage and provide. But
is there some flexibility on the font then?
As long as it's there is, I don't have it on me at the minute, okay. But there is an exact size of font that is illegal. Now, if we can read the font that's on it and it's not excessively small or excessively away from that, then it's fine. We can see it. But if you have the likes of ones where they're tinted or that they're obscured in any way, then there's an issue with it.
Yeah, I think particularly too, there's a line between what might look better and what is done to sort of try and circumvent cameras or the law.
Like look, if it's to change it for the aesthetics, as in they're making the font, realigning it or whatever it is, that's fine. It's not going to, as long as it can be read. But it's the case of where it's adjusted to a fact that it can't be read or it's trying to hide it.
All right, caller says, how do you modify cars? How do modified cars pass an NCT? And if it's not an issue there, how is it an issue for the Garda? We've kind of touched on that a little bit because, go ahead,
Yeah, so a lot of the vehicles we would see on the road would have an NCT, but a lot of the modifications would be made after the fact. So you would see an individual who has their car lowered, putting in the correct suspension or the correct springs back in to bring it back up to the standard ride height before it goes through the NCT. They'll take off they'll change their exhaust, put back in their cat, they'll put back in the proper muffler on it to reduce the sound, and the tents come off, and then
they can do that in a day.
You can do that within a couple of hours.
Yeah, it does happen. Yeah.
So they may have a valid NCT, but it was the vehicle presented to the NCT centre in the same way.
this is just a by the by, but it might be quite serious to some people. Pretty much around rally time, but all year round, you can see extremely rude and sexist stickers on cars, which can cause a public offence. Are they ever asked to remove them, or?
Yes. So especially the main time we seem to come across this is around Donegal rally.
Because it gets viral. People take pictures or TikToks and, it goes around the place.
Yeah, so like under Section 6 of the Public Order Act, the threatening, if it's offensive to people, it can be a public order aspect if you have that on your vehicle.
All right. Is there anything else that you think we should talk about? Because I've sort of gone through some listeners' questions and some of the obvious things, but I mean, as someone just who's well up on this area, is there anything else that you think we should mention?
It's just like in relation to modifications, we've spoken about what we classify as the boy racers or girl racers, but like there is other modifications that are done to vehicles. You have people out there who may have bought a passenger vehicle who have converted it to a commercial, or vice versa, a commercial vehicle to a passenger. Just for these people to be aware that these modifications need to be notified. They have to notify their insurance company, and they have to make sure that they're gone through the appropriate assessor for that work. The individuals that are out in the road, as we said, they're not all out there causing trouble. A lot of people are looking after their cars, and they are the pride and joy. It's just that if we can educate them and make them more aware of what is the correct way to have it.
I think really what's come through, and it's not really surprising, is that, listen, maybe the demographic we're talking of here, less likely to listen to a programme like this. It's mums and dads that seem to be more concerned that their young ones have changed their cars and they're afraid now that they're driving around with insurance. Not much we can do with that other than sort of furnish people with the facts.
Yes,
they're going to have to sort that internally in their household themselves. A couple of questions on tyres, bigger tyres, bigger wheels, bigger tyres. You did touch on that, but tyres specifically?
Yeah, so in relation to tyres, so say for in relation to changing tyres, if it increases the safety of the vehicle, so putting on winter tyres, snow tyres, they're not a modification that's going to affect insurance or the vehicle, because they're there for a safety aspect. If you are increasing the size of the alloy, so vehicle, we'll say the likes of, we'll go with an Audi A6, that comes in, you can get it with a 19-inch wheel, a 20-inch wheel, or an 18-inch wheel. So that's just one vehicle. So the car comes from the manufacturer as standard with 3 choices of wheel.
Yeah, 3 options.
So that's not going to affect the standard of the vehicle. So you do have a bit of leeway in that aspect. So it's just to make sure that if you are changing wheels, that if obviously going from a 15-inch wheel to a 19-inch wheel is going to cause issues obviously with the steering. It's going to be make sure that it's not catching the wings,
and potentially the speedo as well, presumably.
Yes, so as you increase it, will actually your speedo will not be reading the correct speed, because the speedo is calibrated to the wheel that's on the vehicle.
Yeah. All right, interesting stuff as always. Will you ever? You don't seem to strike me, Sean, as a. I can't imagine you in a Ford Escort.
No, I can't imagine me in it either.
I'd say you're. Let me see. I'd say you're a cash guy.
Just go to.
Fabia?
Oh, Fabia, yeah. Look, I'll drive anything.
What's your pride and joy, Michael?
Well, I've a Toyota MR2 is my vehicle that I have for the last 10 or 12 years now, and just doesn't see the light of day too often, though, unfortunately.
No, I'm not a modified kind of car person either, Sean, just in case you think I was having a go. One other one that's actually quite important was to have you LED lights. Now, there's the few things with LED lights. Some of them come factory fitted, right? A lot of cars very high up.
Yes.
The lights are blinding. You can't do anything about that. Other cars, they adapt them. I don't know. I mean, if they come out of the factory, there's not much we can say about that. No, but is there anything in the area of LED that we need to talk about, do you think?
So in relation to the lights in the front of the vehicle, they have to be predominantly white or yellow. They have to be set to the standard. So we do see vehicles out there that put in these big LED bars along the front. So that LED bar needs to be connected to the dip lights. That is not that they're not blinding oncoming users, and that they only work off your full headlight. To obviously, again, it's that's not blinding oncoming people. We do also see people upgrade their lights, so they do put in what they call the HID lights. Again, as long as they are set to the correct height and standard. There's
which will be picked up in the NCT.
Yes.
Drivers out there, especially with your big yokes, most cars, if not all of them, have a little dial that you can dial down your LEDs a little bit, please. You know what I mean? Because I think when people push that up and the lights come up, they think, I can see the road. But, you know, you can drop it down a bit, still see everything, and just have a bit of courtesy for fellow drivers.
That's it. So those are actually in relation to, you'll see those with 1, 2 or 3. So that's if you're towing a vehicle. But that is also down to setting number 1 is in relation to the vehicle having one passenger, a driver and one passenger.
This is new information to me now.
Yeah, so setting 1 will be in relation to having a driver and one passenger. Setting 2 will be if you had 3 passengers. And setting 3 is if the vehicle is full.
So you can see then how that works.
Yeah, so
that's actually really interesting.
Because obviously if you had, we'll say, 3 people in the back of your car, that'll reduce, that'll lower the suspension at the back and increase the front. So that's where you adjust it.
But don't lean back and say, right, folks, I'm going to 3. You don't want to offend anyone.
Yes.
That's actually really that's almost as interesting when I learned that the numbers on your toaster was minutes. I always thought it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to do with how brown you want. It's actually minutes. But anyway, I digress. Michael, thanks for calling in. It's been really interesting actually, and to get some clarity on some of that stuff, and quite a bit in there that was surprised me in different ways actually. That's Sergeant Michael Kilcoyne from the Ballybofey Garda station talking about car modifications, and of course our thanks to Garda Sean Swinney, a regular from Buncrana Garda station, with the appeals and information. Thanks, Sean, really appreciate it. We'll be back with Community Garda information on the show after the 10 o'clock news next Tuesday, but now we take a break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Testing. Do you need to get your hearing tested? Test your hearing with a free sample hearing aid from Hidden Hearing. Order your free sample hearing aid today. Call 1-800-370-000 or visit hiddenhearing.ie.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
Hardy Bucks Legends of County Mayo. 3 Bucks Left is packed with satire, comedy and poignant reflections. Catch 3 Bucks Left, one of Ireland's favourite comedy shows, at Villa Rose Ballybofey on April 18th, the Waterside Arts Theatre Derry on April 19th and on Greenland Theatre Letterkenny on May 3rd. See venues for ticket information.
When it's time for confirmation or first communion, it's time for a trip to Watson Menswear, Letterkenny. Choose from a great selection of top label, casual and formal wear. Suits with matching shirts and ties, blazers and jackets. Also denims, chinos and footwear from big names like Diesel, 1880 Club and Tommy Bow. Stand out on the big day at Watson Menswear. Open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and watsonmenswear.com.
Looking for that Brooks experience? Try the new range at bmcsports.ie. New Ghost Max, Glycerin 21, or the Adrenaline GTS 23. Step into our safe size experience so we can fit the best trainer for your foot. Let us make your trainer experience the best it can be. Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'd be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'd be them. 07491 43942.
If you need a new laptop, enjoy super fast performance and seamless multitasking with Avita laptops at Ben Swinney Euronics. Avita laptops are equipped with advanced processors and ample RAM, so they handle everything from work to entertainment with ease. They come with a 2-year warranty and prices starting at only €449. For more details, pop in and see us at Ben Swinney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, or in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Creative Landscaping Works are the Donegal distributors of millboard cladding and decking. Thanks to its unique polymer resin construction, this decking and cladding doesn't deteriorate like natural wood and won't be beaten for durability. It also has superb slip resistance, even when wet, and every board is produced using recycled materials. Live life outside with millboard at Creative Landscaping Works, Lisnen and Letterkenny. See creativelandscapingworks.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to roll out the red carpet and celebrate the best and brightest in the business world. It's time for the Highland Radio Customer Service Awards in association with McElhinney's Department Store.
From your local community centre, your favourite takeaway to your go-to pet shop, we're recognising the businesses that go the extra mile for you.
This award is a great way to show your appreciation for the businesses that make a difference in your life.
But you better act fast. The deadline for entries is just around the corner. So visit our website and nominate now. Nominations close Tuesday the 23rd of April. The awards will take place on the 2nd of June.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Support local at McElhinney's. With 53 years experience in fashion, beauty and home, we're here for you. Plus, enjoy M-Card rewards when you shop in-store at McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
Today will be cool and breezy with scattered showers and some sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees in a moderate to fresh northwesterly breeze. Kasia Kujea, Youth Information Officer with the Donegal Youth Service, is back in studio with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone.
Every time I see you, I'm another year older, and that is quite true because we do this quite annually. 12th to the 19th of April is European Youth Week. So talk to us about some of the efforts the Donegal Youth Service will be making over this week.
Yes, so first of all, we're not getting older. It's just another year. We're still young, you know.
It's just a number.
It's just a number.
Okay, cool. I feel better now.
Another year, you know. It's just still the same people and the same amazing European opportunities for young people in Donegal, and not only.
Do you know what must be exciting for you, sorry, before you go in, is that every year you see another batch of new faces, yes. And it's a lovely turnover in the job, isn't it?
It is, and especially after pandemic, we see the new faces that are reaching the age of our interest again. Yeah. So they're like 15, 16, 17, and we have brand new people to work with. So this year, European Youth Week, as you mentioned already, is happening right here, right now, across the whole European Union. And the very special thing about this year's European Youth Week is that it's all about upcoming European elections. And the elections are happening in June. Yes, I was testing myself in June. And what we're trying to do with young people this year is to make sure that they know how to register to vote, how to go to the whole process, to not be scared of voting, to realize how meaningful and important it is to vote and decide about their future, because it's all about the future of the young people.
Yeah, and I saw we were chatting to a lady last week as well, who is from Poland, and how her life changed when Poland became part of the European Union in terms of the freedom to travel and the opportunities. And she'd been in France, she'd been in Germany, she'd been in Spain, and then now settled in Ireland. I suppose it's that element, those benefits of sort of the freedom of movement too, that young people sort of need to educate themselves on and understand that it's not always about common fishery policies and farming initiatives and all that type of stuff. Kasia?
Well, to be brutally honest, we want to sell the idea of, the importance of voting in the upcoming elections as what benefits you as Anna or Lucas can have out of this. And we're organizing amazing event for TY students that will be happening on the 22nd of April. So it's like next Monday.
Which is my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday then. It's just a number, remember?
Of course it is. A very small number.
A very small number, yes. And don't forget to register to vote, by the way. But anyway, so we're organizing this amazing event that will be. We're trying to create airport for young people here in Letterkenny. Woo, big stuff, That will be happening in the Radisson Hotel, and whenever young people will be there, they will have a chance to go through all of the stages of going somewhere abroad. So we're creating like a real check-in where people will be registering for voting. Then we'll have the explanation of Schengen area and Eurozone and the history of duty-free, all of this stuff. And then people will have gates where they can choose where they want to go in the future.
Good
so
idea,
we'll be talking about the European elections and importance of the elections. We'll be talking about the European opportunities for young people, like volunteering, studying and working abroad. And then we will have amazing European quiz with the very nice prizes available. So
Brilliant.
I think it'll be great.
Okay, and that is, when is that event? That's on next Monday.
Monday on the 22nd of April in Radisson Hotel. The thing is that right now we don't have any more available spaces because they filled up so quickly. But as this is the European Youth Week, people are more than welcome to visit Donegal Youth Service if they're interested in elections, if they want to know something more how to vote. I mean, not like what is the best
Which candidate? It's actually the process.
It's just the process of voting. So
and
we're
you know what? I just wonder if the next generation becoming, not just in Ireland, but across the EU, becoming sort of maybe a little bit detached or disenfranchised with national politics, if they actually might engage more with European politics. I don't know. That's untested, unproven at this point, but who's to say? Just remind us where the offices is, if anyone wants to call in.
So Donegal Youth Service, we're located on the Port Road, in the building of the old cinema in Letterkenny, if anyone knows where it is. We're located on the second floor. The lift is available, so is whoever really wants
fully accessible.
Fully accessible.
Brilliant. It's
yes.
always a pleasure, Kasia, having you in. Thank you so very much indeed. Good luck with the week.
Thank you very much.
That's Kasia Kujia, Youth Information Officer with the Donegal Youth Service, as enthusiastic as ever. We are in the middle of European Youth Week, 12th to the 19th. There's a big event next Monday. Unfortunately, it's at full capacity, but you can call into the offices to get more information about registering to vote, maybe the opportunities within Europe for you. What age groups are we talking?
We're talking about 16 up to 25 years old.
Cool. So there's lots of stuff going on.
Yes.
Thanks, Kasia.
Thank you very much for having me today.
We'll be back with the news soon.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Virgin Media is bringing Ireland's best broadband to more and more homes. Big homes, little homes, outhouses, haunted houses, big gaffs in the country, non-bouncy castles. Number 16, Oxbow Lake Houses. The house with all the cats. Get 2 gig full fibre broadband with 99.9% reliability from Virgin Media. It's playtime.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. Subject to availability. Ireland's best broadband. See virginmedia.ie/proof.
Hello, I'm David Foley, medical herbalist. Are you suffering with a cold, flu or sinusitis? Then ask for Irish Botanica Echinacea. A traditional herbal remedy, Irish Botanica Echinacea is your natural solution to relieve the symptoms of the common cold, flu and sinusitis. Call into the Natural Way, Letterkenny Shopping Centre for more information.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Dunlow and Bunbeg should attend the clinic in the Oakbrook Ballroom in Dunlow on Tuesday 16th of April, and donors from Ballybofey should attend the clinic in Jackson's Hotel on Wednesday 17th and Thursday 18th. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 or visit our website to book your time. New donors are vital. Visit giveblood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
Get ready to experience the ultimate tribute to the King of Rock and Roll. The Elvis Spectacular Show is coming to Encourage Hotel on Saturday, April 27th. Tickets priced at €25 are available from Eventbrite and Encourage Hotel reception.
Don't miss the BAFTA award-winning comedian Michael McIntyre's brand new show, Magnificent, at the SSE Arena Belfast on Friday the 31st of May 2024. As always, Highland Radio make it easy for you as we look after all your needs. We will provide luxury transfers, overnight stay at the Clayton Hotel Belfast on a B&B basis, your ticket to the show, shopping time in Belfast City Centre. For more information, go to the outlet at highlandradio.com or give us a call on 074 91 25000. Michael McIntyre in
with all the stories that matter across the Northwest. It's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it's just turned a minute past 11. Time for a news update, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A power outage has left over 6,200 residents and businesses in the dark in Buncrana. ESB have estimated that the fault will be restored by 11:15 this morning. Local councillor Jack Murray shared on social media that given the widespread nature of the fault, it's being prioritised. Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council is concerned that the deposit return scheme is harming small businesses. The money back scheme was introduced for plastic drink bottles and cans on February 1st. Councillor Martin Hardy says the installation of the reverse vending machines is costly and some small retailers are absorbing the levy costs in a bid to retain customers. A rear window of a vacant property in Oaklands Park, Letterkenny, was smashed in a bid to steal a copper cylinder. It happened on Monday, the 8th of April, between 3:30 and 5:30. Entry was gained, but the attempt was ultimately abandoned. The property was water damaged on the inside as a result. 40% of police station inquiry offices in Northern Ireland are to close, including the Waterside branch in Derry. The police service says it's facing unprecedented financial pressures and the cuts are necessary. It says over 90% of households will still be within 15 miles of a front desk. A property developer says the Taoiseach's target of 250,000 homes over the next 5 years is much more realistic than previous targets. Simon Harris pledged to hit the number in his Ardèche speech, a figure not currently part of the coalition's targets. The summit in Dublin today will bring house builders and policymakers together to discuss how to accelerate the delivery of new homes. And finally, Garda are appealing to the public for assistance in relation to the theft of a black Mercedes E-Series with a partial registration number of 161D166 in Letterkenny. It was taken from Carnamugga Close on Wednesday night last at around 11 p.m. The stolen car was then located on the Pierce Road in Letterkenny at 5:45 a.m. the following Friday morning. Garda are asking anyone who may have observed the car being driven at any stage between those dates or those with dashcam footage to make contact with them. That's all for now. We'll be back again at 12 o'clock.
Thank you very much indeed, Donna Marie.
In Galersin, Bhuaigh méid go fásach, ní rá méid fiosú. Bías a gnáú go tapa, Bhuaigh méid trí na chéile. Crá agus pian, fud me chorp. Dul méid isce ach níor bhún méid, an rá méid chun bása á. Duras an ospedéal go raibh sepsis orm, agus go raibh sé pránach.
Déitoch sepsis a cheilt tífir de ein en outú ag ísir bit. Bíag far amacht an a cóirí. Breis olalas hse.ie/sepsis. Ná bí aglach ceiste chur, an bhéitoch sepsis a bheith orm. On HSE.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. We're heading to the last hour. Shortly, we're going to be joined by Pat McCart. He's going to be responding to comments from Taoiseach Simon Harris, who said people of his generation are more familiar with Berlin and Paris than they are with Belfast or Derry in the north. Does he agree? Does he disagree? We'll tease that out with Pat very shortly. Interested in your views out there as well. Good morning, Greg. I wonder if you can help me out with a matter. I've booked a holiday for this year. I'm also awaiting an operation and it should be done before the holiday. I cannot get travel insurance as the operation is still to happen. Do you know of any companies that would quote for travel insurance? That comes in from Jay. Such a specific inquiry, Jay, but I'm sure you're not alone. So if anyone out there has a holiday booked or has had a holiday booked in the past, but in the meantime, and it's a year between now and then, in the meantime, they're due to have an operation and unable to get insurance. Now, it's important to get insurance as soon as you book a holiday. A lot of us do it at the last minute, but the insurance covers more than just, God forbid, you were to get ill. It covers cancellations and all manner of stuff as well. So it's important as soon as you book a holiday to get your insurance so we can understand why this person is keen. Please, could you highlight the rising cost of running a small business in Donegal out of premises, the electricity bill rates, and can't get staff. It's harder to get money in off local people because of the cost of living. The government gives no incentive to work. Most businesses are going to the wall. Two restaurants, for an example, are closing per day since the start of this year, effectively. It's shocking. Anyone in the industry that wants to talk about that, please let us know. Right, okay. So, Taoiseach Simon Harris made a general statement saying that people of his generation are more familiar with Berlin or Paris than they are with Belfast or Derry. He says those comments have been taken completely out of context. Pat McCart, author, columnist, former editor of the Derry Journal, joins us on the podcaster, joins us on the programme now. Good morning, Pat.
Morning, Greg.
Good to have you on the show. Right, okay, so... Listen, I get the point Simon Harris was trying to make. I just thought that the language he used excluded people all over the country that have got family in Derry and Belfast, people living along the border or slightly north of a certain line who are more familiar and in touch with Belfast and Derry than there might be Dublin and Cork. I thought his language excluded those people. As I say, I recognise the point he was trying to make, but what say you?
No, Greg, I actually agree with you, but I do think in the wider context, what Harris actually said, Simon Harris actually said, was pretty accurate. Greg, you base everything on sort of empirical experience. Right, myself and my dear missus went down, I'd say about 20 years ago. I think it was Longford, Greg, I'm not 100% certain. We stopped off in a town, we just booked on a wee hotel and stayed overnight. I went out to the bar, say about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and I had a couple of pints and I was chatting to 4 or 5 people. And Greg, not a single one of them had ever been to Donegal, not a single one had ever been to Derry, and not a single one had ever been to Belfast. And Greg, if you go to places like Laois and away down there, Longford, most people there have never been north of the border. That's a fact. Now, Simon Harris said he was of a generation. In fact, he couldn't even vote on the Good Friday Agreement. He was too young, and he was saying basically the only way we get to know each other is we have to interact and get to know each other on a personal level and so on. And he says that'll probably ease up, any future discussions. What I think he was referring to was Irish unity. But the whole thing about it is, Greg, I heard you earlier on this morning. Without question, a lot of young Irish people and their parents have far more experience of Sydney, Melbourne, and other points off this island than they have with certain points on this island. And just to finish the point as well, Greg, I remember one day the legendary Gay Byrne was on, and I don't remember exactly who he was talking to, but I think it was an American guy, and the guy says to him, when I come out of Dublin Airport, he says, I always turn left. In other words, he was going south rather than turning right, which meant he was going north. And Gay said to him, why do you do that? And he said, well, for starters, now this is during the Troubles, he says, I don't have to go through 2 British Army checkpoints to get to Donegal. Now, as you remember, Greg, Gay Byrne was one of the biggest supporters of Donegal during the Troubles. He had a house in the Dunlow area and all the rest of it. But no, Greg, I think I get the point Harris was actually making.
Yeah, if you live next to Shannon Airport, you probably are more familiar with the cities that he's mentioned. It's just the thing that frustrates me a little bit, Pat, in this day and age, especially when there are so many ways that we can communicate and engage with each other, is language. And you would just hope with someone in his position who represents the entire country, whether people like that or not, who's got a team of advisors, way more than work in perhaps the newsroom of this building and another newspaper, for an example, that they can't sort of use language that's inclusive at the same time. Yeah. That people felt their backs were up. Say, I was in Derry 3 times this week. Yet I'm part, I live in the Republic. And it just talks to maybe a political class that are out of touch. And it wasn't really picked up in the media till some of us started giving out, because I don't think people who write the stories in Dublin would have seen anything wrong with what he's said. And that just kind of talks to a 2-part Ireland or a 3-part, 4-part Ireland.
Well, Greg, I think it was you brought up the thing about, the archaeology thing. Donegal is the only county that didn't get any funding. I have a long, and in fact, I get bored of even repeating it myself. I regard Donegal as the forgotten county, the Cinderella county, where we are neither of the north nor of the south, and I've said that a million times. But the other thing as well, Greg, let me throw this at you. About Easter Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, myself and my wife and my second son, we went off to Carnlough, one of the glens of Antrim. And we drove up, drive up past Coleraine, up Ballycastle on to Carnlough, one of the most beautiful wee villages you'll ever be in your life, anywhere in the world. Absolutely beautiful place. Anyway, on the way back, we decided to see if we could count how many cars with a southern registration. Greg, we counted, I think, 2. And that was a very busy bank holiday Monday. You know, people from the south just don't, even still, don't go north. There's all that sort of residual thing from the Troubles, fear and all the rest of it. And Greg, I worked in Dublin way back in the 1980s, and going through the north way back then was actually quite scary. A lot of people just didn't want to go through the north. There were stones thrown at cars with southern registrations. There was, when you parked your car somewhere in certain towns, there was a danger that you'd get, whatever. And that's all part of the thing, Greg. So let's get back to the point you're making here. You're dead right. Maybe Simon Harris could have used more inclusive language. But there's a certain truth in what he said that maybe it needs saying. That
but I've never been. I've never been to Cork or Kerry. I'm embarrassed to say, but I've never been to Cork or Kerry. That's just a reality. I mean, he's talking obviously maybe then about sort of cultural differences. I don't know. And travelling to the north too as well. Like I have no problem with the north at all. My dad's from Tyrone, and much of my family is. But I do remember a few years ago going to a caravan site just across the border in the south. And the local town, it was just like Union Jacks everywhere and people marching up and down the street. And I suppose, that did feel a little bit intimidating. Maybe I was a bit more on my nerves at that stage. Perhaps would be more, I'd be not as bothered now. I wasn't bothered by it, but it does feel very different. Like if someone from further south who didn't know what was going on experienced that, they might go, well, what's going on here? So
there's certain, like if you go through outside of Coleraine, you go through places like Bushmills, and there's 2 or 3 other wee villages. You go through them and you'll find Union Jacks everywhere. There's a roundabout outside Limavady that's painted green, red, white, and blue, which is not very welcoming, I got to admit, and so on. And I think what Harris is basically getting at, and there's a certain element to it, and by the way, I'm repeating, the language could have been better. I'm not disputing for a second what you're saying. But the other side of the story is, what he's basically saying, I think this whole, up until 2016, Greg, there was very, very little mention of Irish unity. It was not a hot button topic and all the rest of it. But since Brexit has become an everyday conversation, the demographics in the north have changed big time. The Catholics or the nationalist community are now in the majority. Sinn Féin's the biggest party. Michelle O'Neill is a first minister. Unionists are now in disarray. And there's talk that we'll have a poll for Irish unity by 2030. And I think what Harris is sort of saying to all those young people who think that Rome and London and Paris are closer than Belfast and areas, look, we need to get engaged in a conversation about how we bring about unity. And personal relationships need to be embedded in a way so we all understand each other.
I think really what this talks to, and it's a shame it's kind of detracted from what is actually quite a useful conversation that he's trying to spark here, is that, and the BBC saw this a number of years ago, in that they knew they were becoming too London-centric, and they started farming out some of their news teams and production commissioning or programme commissioning and production to Manchester and other parts of Britain. We have a problem here. There is a Dublin bubble, and unfortunately it seems even politicians, a lot of politicians from the west and more rural parts of the country, when they go into Dublin, they actually come under this bubble. That the journalists and the politicians all talk to each other, slightly hive mind. Unfortunately, they really, if they try, don't talk about decentralisation, but it would really help, I think, if they moved some of what they do in Dublin, be it journalism or politics, out of Dublin, to try and get a better understanding that you don't put your foot in it like they did with that type of language for us up here in the Northwest. Convoluted as Begara, but I hope it made some sense.
Yeah. No, Greg, I agree with you totally. Greg, 1/3 of the population of Ireland lives around that greater Dublin area. And it's our whole politics, our whole journalism, everything that you can think of has become Dublin-centric. If you watch RTÉ any night, no wonder Highland Radio took off like a bullet all those years ago, because simply we had been ignored for so many years. If they're doing a programme about school meals, it'll be a school somewhere near Lucan. If they're doing a programme about inner city poverty, it'll be somewhere out about Tala or something. They would never think of coming to Donegal and talking about rural poverty or whatever. I think most of the things, this last while. Dublin has become so. It's a wonder, by the way, this place doesn't go like a seesaw, because Dublin, there's so much. Dublin's so heavy these days, and the other places are so light.
When I worked,
it's ridiculous.
When I worked at Northwest Radio, I said, this is not a bad thing to say, but I'm not going to sort of not give an example. I have one. When I worked in Northwest Radio, it was based in Sligo, and there was a satellite station in Donegal. And there was quite a good bit of programme as well, but you'd try and pitch stories for inclusion on the news, you know what I mean? And you would notice that sort of the stories would be further down the bulletin than a lesser story about Sligo, which would be further up. But it would be quite frustrating. I would say there probably is quite a lot of frustration amongst correspondents that feed into the national stations in actually pitching stories and getting them on the programming, because there are brilliant correspondents right across the country, but ultimately the editorial decision is still made in Dublin, and I think until such time as that changed, we're going to continue to see the path of least resistance, the handy stories, the Dublin-centric stuff.
Greg, I was a sub-editor in RT many, many years ago, and I was actually on the desk one morning, and there had been a shooting in the north. Somebody had been shot dead, and there was a bus strike in Dublin. And I was the only sub-editor on the desk that morning, and I wrote the headlines for, I think, the 6:30 news. The guy called Jim Flanagan, who was a lovely man, by the way, came in and changed it. And he says, he put the Dublin bus strike ahead of the shooting dead of somebody on Earth. And I said, Jim, no, I'm not arguing. You're the boss, but why did you switch it around? He says, Pat, a third of the people in Ireland live in Dublin. The bus strike will affect them more than the shooting in Belfast or Derry. I can't remember where it was, in fairness. You know, and that was the reality of it. And that was the thinking behind switching my headline. I thought the shooting dead of a human being would be far more important than a bus strike, but I was wrong, apparently.
Well, what a way to leave it. Okay, Pat. And yet we're still here to this day. And as I say, and I think you perhaps a little more than I both accept that what the Taoiseach was trying to say is important. It certainly resonates with certain people of his generation. To some extent is right. And it's a good conversation to have, unfortunately slightly overshadowed by this non-inclusive language that just makes a big swathe
absolutely.
of the population feel like,
better, that's for certain.
Pat, it is always a pleasure. Thank you so very much indeed.
And you, Greg.
Appreciate it. Take care of yourself. Pat McCarthy there, author, columnist, podcaster, former editor of the Derry Journal.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Paco Letterkenny are celebrating 5 years open this week with an up to 50% off bonanza on all new season Paco, Regatta and footwear. Yes, that's right, up to 50% off at Paco in Letterkenny Retail Park this week only.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €105 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
The infection felt terrible. I just wasn't getting better. I was breathing fast and I felt confused. I had shivers and pain through my body. I was drinking water, but I wasn't peeing. I felt like I was going to die. In the hospital, they said I had sepsis. And it's urgent.
Sepsis can hide behind any infection at any age, so watch out for the signs. Visit hse.ie/sepsis for more information. And don't be afraid to ask the question, could it be sepsis? From the HSE.
TFI Local Link operates evening and weekend services throughout rural Ireland to help you stay connected 7 days a week. We know life doesn't just happen 9 to 5, so if you're commuting, shopping, visiting family, or going out in the evenings or on the weekends, let TFI Local Link take you there. Visit transportforireland.ie.
Irish National Opera presents a new production of L'Olympiade by Vivaldi, a fiery opera about tangled relationships and forbidden love, played out with a backdrop of the Olympic Games. Olivier Award-winning conductor Peter Whelan conducts the Irish Baroque Orchestra. One night only in Greenan Theatre, Letterkenny, Tuesday the 30th of April. Tickets from €29. See on greenan.com, funded by the Arts Council.
Ryan Adams is back on tour in 2024. Join Highland Radio on our trip to Dublin to see the man himself at the 3 Arena on Tuesday, the 21st of May 2024. Your trip includes luxury transfers, bed and breakfast at the 4-star Carlton Hotel Blanchardstown, your standing ticket to the show, and a shopping trip to Dublin city centre the following day. Find out more on the outlet at highlandradio.com or call us on 074 91 25,000.
A lot to squeeze in the next 40 minutes, including Daniel O'Donnell. He'll be joining us talking about an upcoming concert. But first I want to say hello to Anne. And Anne is going through, unfortunately, what an awful lot of people are going through across this region, and I think particularly in certain areas of Donegal. Anne, good morning to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Anne. Unfortunately, though, you had to seek out an appointment with your GP this morning in the Inishowen area. What was your experience?
Well, I actually, this was the second morning I rang. I rang on Friday morning to see if I could get an appointment, to be told that their books are closed until after the 7th of May. Now, I'm going to have to hold you there a second. I want to hold you, Anne, because just in case people don't get the date, I want to remind people it's now the 16th of April. Anne phoned the GP for the second time and was told that the appointments book, i.e. an in-person meeting with the GP, is closed until the 7th of May next month. Yes.
What else were you told?
Unfortunately for me, I have to see the specific GP because it's this person that I have been seeing for nearly the last year, and I am under a consultant in Dublin. Rang the consultant in Dublin this morning to be told that I can't be seen any sooner until the GP sends a letter with updated symptoms. I have severe nerve compression in my neck, and the symptoms are progressing. And so tried to ring on Friday, and no, couldn't, 7th May, so I thought, right, I'll try and phone and hold out. But unfortunately, that's not going to work. So I rang this morning. Between 9 and 10, it's emergency appointments. Couldn't get through, even though technically it's not an emergency. So I got through after 10 and to be told that the books are still closed till after the 7th of May. And I said, right, well, I need to speak to somebody. I need to be seen because I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. And basically was kind of fobbed off, and the attitude to me was tough. So I said, well, if I ring tomorrow between 9 and 10, will I be able to request my GP? No, you'll just get whatever doctor you get. And I said, well, that's not good enough. So unfortunately for me, I can't see my GP till after the 7th of May. And even then, there's no guarantee that I won't be waiting another month because everybody's going to be ringing at the same time looking for an appointment.
So you didn't actually, so you didn't actually get an appointment for the 8th of May?
Oh, no. We have to ring back after the 7th of May.
Wow. And I mean, as opposed to, let's talk about what an emergency is. Your bulging disc causing the nerve pain, this condition is getting worse. You haven't had a day free of pain for over a year. And also the lack of access.
Almost a year.
Yeah, the lack of access to a GP is actually also delaying your engagement with your consultant. So, I mean, if I was at an emergency to go, you'd go to the ED, right? So what's classed as a GP emergency? I'm sorry, I'm not a doctor, but this sounds like a personal emergency to you, Anne. You need this. Yes. You need to be seen.
Yes, I do, and but that's where I'm caught, And if I can present an accident emergency in Letterkenny, as I've done numerous times in the last year, but unfortunately, there's nothing they can do for me. So I end up having to go back to my GP, who has prescribed different medications, X, Y, and Z. I was told I was going to be in Dublin in January that I was going to get a CT-guided nerve block in 6 to 8 weeks. I rang on Friday to find out that is not even possible. The CT room in the hospital in Dublin is closed since October, and they have a backlog of almost a year. So I can't get the operation, but I get the injection.
Okay, so just to be absolutely clear, the nerve block injection, you can't get that till you see your GP. You can't get the surgery until you get the nerve block. And in the meantime, your symptoms continue to worsen. It sounds to me like a terrible ordeal to be living in constant pain for almost a year. I mean, the problem is what can you do? This is also too, by the way, where this has an impact beyond the actual condition someone has, because this is going to it's going to wear you down, and no one is strong enough that they could put up with this. It's going to wear you down and affect yourself and those around you, I'm sure.
Yes.
As much as we try not to.
At this stage, I'm sure everybody around me is sick of listening to me. And not only that, the last time I was in casualty, I actually turned around and I told the doctor, you know what, I'm about ready to jump off a bridge at this stage. And he kind of looked at me and I said, I'm not actually going to jump off a bridge, but I said, I can honestly see how some people over-medicate and accidentally overdose, or how some people cannot take the pain anymore. And unfortunately, we wonder why suicide rates are going up. That's another reason, because people are in pain and they're not being helped, not being seen, and there's only so much you can take before you can take no more.
Also, too, I mean, obviously, you know, we're just talking to you using your first name. I think you've also spoke on social media. This is a gamble too, because you would hope it doesn't, but could this make it more difficult for you to get an appointment after the 7th of May?
Well, it could. I haven't mentioned any names, and anybody that knows me will have an idea who I attend. But it's not just my GP; it's GPs in Inishowen, and I know this from having talked to different people that go to different practices. So it seems to be rife, and I don't understand. It's the first time in my life where I've ever heard of a doctor having books and being closed. When has this become a thing that they have books that they close? And then there's no appointments until they open their books again. When did this become a thing?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
A doctor is somebody that you should be able to access as you need. I know there is people that run and maybe don't need to be seen as often as they are. And I know there's people like me that need to be seen and can't be seen. And it's just so frustrating, because you ring looking for appointments and you're met with people that maybe don't understand how much pain you're in. And then can't see anybody. And, you know, what do I do? Do I take extra medication? Do I hope that my GP won't tell me, right, you know, you shouldn't have spoke out, so bye-bye? You know.
Is there any cross-border options, Anne, given your location? But you're dealing with a specific GP,
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, you're dealing with a specific GP.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm under, like I have been seen by... not the actual consultant, but has registered doctors in Dublin twice. But it's almost like gaslighting, because they're telling you just keep taking the medication and see how you feel, or we can't do the operation till we see how the nerve block works. But then there's no sign of a nerve block happening. I asked them, can they not just do the operation and be done with it? Because either it's going to work or it's not. And if it doesn't, at least I know this is something I'm going to have to cope with for the rest of my life.
You're just not going to, unfortunately, they're not going to bend those rules in that regard. And listen, I mean, obviously, our GP practices in certain areas are dealing with a massive increase in population and an obligation also to take on extra numbers in some cases as well. Yeah. There was talk of this big fund to pump into certain areas. As it turns out, it's never going to transpire to sort of maybe increase, you know, GPs, nurses in certain areas where population has increased dramatically. But that's not going to happen anytime soon, if at all. And it's certainly not going to happen for you. But you asked a really good question. When did this become a situation? This is like, you know, when did it become a situation where appointment books close at your local GP for the best part of 3 weeks? When did that become a normal situation? And also a caller says here, by the way, I was in the same position recently and was told to go to the GP door in the morning. The next morning I nearly died when I saw the queue doing the same thing. When the doors opened, it was like a sale. Everyone rushed for the reception desk. It's no wonder there's no appointments when people call. But that's another cohort of people who can't get an appointment, so they're turning up as like it's a fire sale for health. I don't know what to say to you, Anne. We get a lot of calls, and I think I can sort of identify in which area it is, and a lot of them are similar, unfortunately, Anne. But I do also recognise there's an awful lot of pressure on GPs. But you need this.
I understand that. Yeah. I do.
But also, you're being disadvantaged, and you wonder why. Like, I mean, you are entitled to see your GP. You're entitled to get a letter. You're entitled to get your nerve block jab. You're entitled to get your operation. You're entitled for the best chance of a pain-free life. I don't blame you in any way, shape, or form. But something has to be done here, because this is crazy, and people like yourself and others.
It's absolutely crazy, because there's people that's waiting to see a GP with something very simple, which turns into something more serious because they're waiting weeks and weeks and weeks, and then in turn that's making a casualty more busy. That's making the consultants more busy. It's just like, I think there's a lot happening that people don't realise, because somebody that could have a chest infection could turn into pneumonia, which is a hospital stay. It's silly little things like that people that we don't realise, and it's just then we can't see a GP.
Okay, all right. Listen.
It's very frustrating.
I know, Anne, and I can sense that. And I really, genuinely, by the way, I'm not just saying this, I really hope you get a resolution soon, and you at least get on the pathway to give yourself a chance of getting pain-free, because you don't really have any guarantees that you're going to go through all of this and it will work, but I pray it works, and I hope things move for you.
This is it.
All right, and thanks for contacting us.
Okay.
If there's something else you want to add,
thank you very
feel
much.
free. If you want to, is there anything else you want to add?
Okay. No, I was just going to say that, like, I've come on here, and I hope that if there is anybody that's listening today that thinks they need to see their GP, now's the time to ring, because you're going to be waiting weeks.
Okay, Anne. All right. Thanks. Thank you very much indeed. Right, let's take a quick break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
It's time to visit Ireland's newest Lexus dealership, Lexus Letterkenny. With 50 years of experience, you can trust us in this new era of electrification. Experience our all-electrified range, including the stunning ES Hybrid Saloon and our award-winning range of plug-in hybrid SUVs. And view our finance offers, including the all-new LBX. Start your 2-for-1 journey with Lexus Letterkenny Port Road. Lexus. Experience amazing.
The CFC Interior Stock Disposal Sale ends this Saturday, the 20th of April. Due to renovations, an incredible £1.5 million worth of stock must go. Don't miss our highest ever discounts on selected ranges across all departments. The Stock Disposal Sale at CFC Interiors Derry. Sale ends this Saturday, the 20th of April.
Are you ready for Cairn Community Games? Come and make some noise. Throw shapes, run, paint, cycle, sing. Take to the stage and make friends. It doesn't matter where you're from or what you're into. There's a place for you at Cairn Community Games, because together we're all in. Play your part at cairncommunitygames.ie.
Craving a taste of bliss by the water? The Water's Edge in Rathmullen. Join us from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. daily and sample our delicious new breakfast menu. We also have a daily lunch special from 12 p.m. Or why not sample our dinner menu from 4 p.m. The Water's Edge Rathmullen, where tranquility and good food come together.
Choosing to have a chicken fillet roll is easy. The hard part is butter or mayo, plain or spicy, coleslaw or cheese, coleslaw and cheese. Shop smart, feel good with Centra's meal deal. Get a chicken fillet roll with 2 fillings, select soft drinks and a small pack of Tato, all for just $7.50 plus DRS deposit. Centra. Live every day.
Now you're welcome back back to the programme, I beg your pardon. We're welcoming on to the programme Leonie Rogers, who is sister of Patrice McCrossan of St Johnston. Leonie, thank you so much for joining us. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg.
We're also in studio with Kevin Shields from St Johnston as well, a family friend of Patrice. Thanks so much for calling up, Kevin. Very much appreciated.
Good morning, Greg.
Leonie, I know this is not easy, but maybe you might, as much as you're comfortable with, talk to us about Patrice's condition and its discovery and progression.
Well, Patrice was unwell since about Christmas time, and she just couldn't get better. So come the end of January, she was like, right, I'm probably going to have to go to the doctor. So she decided on a Friday morning to ring. The doctors couldn't take her. She was just really fatigued and all, and they ended up she couldn't get up the stairs, so she was like, I must have a chest infection.
She's only 32 years of age.
Yeah.
So this is very unusual for a 32-year-old.
She had a baby 7 months beforehand, and she had an easy pregnancy or delivery, and also she thought it's just that, like, things But so she got the nurse when the doctor couldn't take her. And she went in, and the nurse had says there she didn't like the colour of her, so she would rather go to the emergency department. And we think it's a blessing she got the nurse that day, because by the time she got to the hospital, her haemoglobin was down to 4. So they put her in the major emergency, and this was 4:30, and they had her abed by 2 that night. Patrice didn't settle still. There was abnormalities in her blood, so they came in the next morning, diagnosed her with leukemia. Hematology came in, and that was her. They were like, we're getting a bed ready for you in Dublin, or in Galway they were sending her. They says, you're going to be going for 4 months. We've been in contact with them, and she couldn't leave till she got her blood. She had to get 3 units of blood before she left Letterkenny. So it was the Sunday by the time then she went down to Galway, and that was her.
Now, this is just earth-shattering news. I mean, how could any individual or a family prepare for that?
Yeah, like you're sort of going on, it doesn't hit you. You're running on adrenaline and all, like just for even the weeks after, like for the first.
And presumably part of the transfer to Galway is to examine more the condition, how severe it is, what exactly it might be, how it might be treated. So that's test after test after test. How was that for Patrice?
The first week, really, really difficult. All the testing, the bone marrow biopsies and all, like to see what kind of leukemia she had. So this is then it was AML, and that's the acute myeloid leukemia. So it's in the blood and bone marrow, but with myeloid, it's really aggressive, and it gets the cells when they're underdeveloped, and it just takes over her whole body. So then it was to see what kind of treatment they were going to go in with this. Like she went down there and she was 90% cells covering her body, so they had to go in aggressive treatment.
So without an intervention at this point, she probably wouldn't be with us now. Is that?
I think if she didn't go to A&E on the Friday with her haemoglobin at 4, all her ALBs was so low that she mightn't have been there till the morning.
So it really, from when she. How rapidly did it progress to from where she felt, there's something not right here, till actually going to the ED? How long a period of time was that?
Well, this was before Christmas. She felt unwell. But I think then when the leukemia, whenever the cells had changed or whatever, that she was, they says it was a few weeks. Like she didn't see the symptoms, but now that she knows about it, she did have symptoms that she didn't see.
Because it's not really how we associate cancer, is it really?
No.
It's just, it doesn't
She just got
normally...
really, really weak.
Really, really quickly.
Yeah, I know.
And as you say, between a recent pregnancy and stresses and tribulations, you put it down to other things,
Yeah, like
don't
she had
you?
a bad dose, but she couldn't fight it off because her cells she had no fighting cells. Like she's neutropenic all the time with her condition.
So what is the treatment pathway now? What treatment is she in? What treatment?
She is in her second cycle now at the minute. Her first cycle, they went in, give her an intense chemotherapy. For like the first 3 days, she would get 3 rounds of chemo, and then she'd go 20 days with 2 rounds a day. It's really intense, and then it's all the infections that come with it and all. So by the end of that cycle, they do her biopsies, her bone marrow biopsies twice to see how it's going, and they want to be able to get the cells into remission. But at the end of the first cycle, after the aggressive treatment, they didn't get her cells into remission. So that determined then that she needs the bone marrow.
Now, the bone marrow transplant, it is like other things that we know in medicine, you require a match, don't you?
Yeah.
And those around her, the likes of yourself, aren't a match.
We're
so
not a
you have
match.
had to go through that process
We
as
got
well.
genetic testing. That was done with just the blood drawn, but none of us was a match. We were hopeful that maybe out of 4 of us, like that one of us would be. So it's finding her a match now, but we have to see. She's probably on now at the minute getting another biopsy, the bone marrow, to see how the second cycle has went, how the cells is going. But like it's the infections and all that come with it. Like, she's been lying, she's not too bad there at the weekend, but the weekend before, like they were treating her under ICU guide,
And it's so
and palliative care, and
wow, okay.
It's a really tough road for her.
Yeah.
And they hope now in the next 8 to 10 weeks that they would get a donor, find her a donor. So
She's a battler, but she has a battle on her hands.
Mhm.
But there's no doubt she's a strong woman.
She's very strong.
in terms of seeking out a suitable donor, I don't know how that works. Unfortunately, sorry. Is there like a panel or
people have been in contact that they want to get on the register? You can't go on the register until you're a blood donor. So the way that they want people to check online to see if they're eligible to be a blood donor, and when they go to the clinic sorts them to get on the register.
Is there any indicators that someone might be a match for her?
No,
nothing geographical or relation or nothing like that there. It's just like, it just so happens that another person would match.
You go on the register and you go on to a worldwide database.
Okay.
So they will see from there, they go through that.
So you're sitting there waiting, hoping just the right person hears something like this, the right person is a blood donor or becomes one, the right person registers as a
try and find her match.
Yeah. Okay.
Because this is the only thing, like the last time when they seen the cells couldn't go into remission, she's been told like she could go through these treatments, but it's going to come back. They can't save her. So this is her chance to save her life.
Yeah. And Leonie, how's her young family and all coping? I mean, her children are, obviously they're under the care of the family and Gary and what have you, but they're so young, and her being apart from the children probably is almost as difficult as everything else she's going through.
Not easy at all. Not easy for any of them. Like Gary, like to be two places at once. So just trying to balance it all with all of us. The Waynes are, like a 3-year-old says one day the hairdresser was cutting their hair and he's like, do you want to stay and look after me? Because my mum is away. They just... Yeah. He doesn't really understand, but the bigger ones, he knows his mum is gone, but the bigger ones then, like her 7-year-old, I took her down at the weekend for a wee bit of 1-to-1, and she lies up with Patrice when she's hooked up, and she's like, Mommy, why does this have to happen to our family? And Patrice is like, there's no answers. You can't. How do you answer them that?
You can't. You can't. It's absolutely impossible, because you want the time with them, but then you have to.
Yeah.
Kevin, also friend Johnson. Leonie, by the way, you've done amazing. It's very, very difficult for you too, and you've done absolutely fantastic in just helping us understand. Kevin, I mean, who couldn't be moved by this story? I think particularly as horrible what Patrice is going through, but then when you think about the children, I think that gets everyone on a different level as well, on top of what we're already feeling. This is obviously it's the family that's affected. It's the friends and the community too. This is just a big shock for everybody.
Yeah, it was a big shock now when I came out at the start and all, and being the family of Patrice and Gary is, and the Duddy family and Rogers family, everybody was pulling together. So I was down in Galway at a rally and I met Wally Rogers, Patrice's brother, and had a talk with him down there about Patrice. So when I come back to Donegal then, and the Monday after the rally, I had to think about it, and I spoke to my wife Fanula about it. And then on Tuesday I called Declan Boyle of Sonny McSwain's McCafferty group and said to Declan what I was thinking, maybe running a fundraiser to help the family, because it was, I knew it was going to be a tough road for them and expensive road, accommodations and stuff and all. So Declan told me, yeah, definitely go ahead, and whatever backing I would need, he would be there. And so he set up a meeting all with Philip, the manager, and Mark, Emma, and Shannon. So we agreed with Wally it was okay with the family to have this fundraiser. So I started off to do something I thought was going to be small. And the first person I phoned was Donna Kelly about it, and Donna right away, 2 Coldplay tickets valued at €1,000, and I'll give you first bid at €1,000, full VIP. And so that started the ball rolling, and since then everybody has been fantastic towards the fundraiser, and I went outside then to talk to different people outside myself and Sonny's desk. So I spoke to David Fisher from Oakfield and Niall McGonigal from IN Motorsports about a bit of advice on it, and they all give me great advice. So been working very closely with Declan and his team, and as I say, we have got serious donations in.
This auction is taking place on Friday the 19th at 7 p.m. in Sonny McSwine's in Letterkenny. It's in aid of Patrice McCrossan. And I suppose, Kevin, you know, you feel as a community or friends or what have you, you can feel helpless in this situation. You know, you wish you could take it all away, but you can't. But what can you do? Is you can try and eliminate other worries like the pressures in life, so that Patrice and Gary and the family can focus on getting her better. And that's what this is all about, isn't it, really? Is to support them.
Yeah, it's definitely a support for the family because, as you said, Greg, it's very hard on the family what they're going through, so they don't need that extra pressure of, you know, funding to keep them down in Galway and up in Dublin and all. So what the support, not just the funding, but knowing that the support of the people has behind them is just unreal what we're getting like.
And listen, some of the lots are hitting on stuff that's hugely popular up here, of course. You mentioned the VIP Coldplay tickets worth over $1,000. Rally seats from the top 10 rally cars in Ireland.
Yeah.
Huge. Our own Jason Quigley, world title contender, of framed boxing gloves of his. That would be a great thing to have. That and so much more besides. I think you've been really pleased with the generosity of those that you've approached. That you haven't left you wanting.
Oh, everybody I've approached has been unreal. Like, you know, as I said, like the first ask was Donna Kelly, Denver Full Boxing Club, gloves straight off the wall, give it to me in the frame. Callum Devine, I phoned Callum, no bothers, sir, that was his answer, whatever you need, let me know. So they have all given seats, and even when I was in bed last night, I got a message from Matt Edwards, who's from Wales, who's given a seat out as well.
Oh, brilliant.
And, you know, it's unreal, like, you know, but not alone just the rally and the other sports like soccer, Gaelic from Brian McCormick and Michael Murphy, like, and
there's too much to mention, but there is a massive list of brilliant prizes, brilliant lots for this auction. And it is in McSwine's Letterkenny in aid of Patrice McCrossan. And I suppose, you know, Leonie, when we're going through difficult times, we look at little things to sort of help us get us through. The reaction from the local community, but even more wider than that, backing Patrice in her battle, and the family as a whole as well.
We can't believe it. Like, we just can't believe the generosity and the support from everyone. Like, they told Patrice on there that she says, I'm leaving you in my hands to get me back up the road, and they says you need loads of prayers too. And everybody's been rallying about praying and all. Like, Patrice didn't want to accept anything. She was like, no, some other creditor needs it. And now as the road's getting tougher, we see, like, we don't know what's going to be 6 months or a year from now. Like, we just...
Yeah, okay. This is a reminder to the importance of donations. In terms of blood donations, which of course Patrice has had to rely on. Get yourself on the register too for donating organs, or in this case bone marrow.
Bone marrow.
How do you find out more information about that?
On their website and at the blood donation clinics.
Okay, so
we have one in Dunlow tonight, and there's two in Balbafay the next 2 nights as well, for people that do want to go to make an appointment or anything to.
But at this stage, her whatever makes up her bone marrow has been tested against an international database at this point, is it?
Everybody that goes on the register, it's not just Ireland, it goes on a worldwide one. So you could save somebody in Spain or whatever in the same situation.
Listen, go ahead, please, Kevin.
Yeah, just one more thing, Greg. Sonny McSwine's and McCafferty's has set up a GoFundMe page for people who can't attend the fundraising event on Friday night. And anybody that donates on the GoFundMe page, they'll be in with a chance of winning one of 5 prizes as well.
Okay.
Just to help people who can't make it on the night.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, listen, fair play. Yes, go ahead. Leonie, did you want to say something?
No, I'm
okay,
trying to
well
figure
done. You did brilliant. Leonie Rogers, sister of Patrice McCrossan of St. Johnstone. Kevin Shields, also from St. Johnstone, and a family friend of Patrice McCrossan. If you can, get along to that event on Friday night. And where can people find that website?
You can find it on Sonny McSwain's McCafferty's bar. Yeah,
okay, brilliant. Okay. Right, we'll link that, of course, on our socials. Thank you so much, both of you.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
The Donegal branch of the Irish Kidney Association are hosting a service of remembrance and thanksgiving on Sunday 21st of April at 3 p.m. in St Mary's Church, Dunarler, to remember organ donors and donor families. Organ Donor Awareness Week runs from 20th of April to 27th of April. For more information, visit ika.ie.
Ready to feast your ears on the sizzle of success? Ireland's most awarded specially selected steak range from Aldi. 100% Irish board beef, quality assured. Strip loin for two for just $9.99. Or how about dry aged Black Angus ribeye? The best ribeye in Ireland. Two for just $13.99. Sounds good. Tastes even better. Go all Aldi. While stocks last.
FBD doesn't stand for frighteningly rad dentists, ferociously beating drums, or feline business directors. FBD stands for support. We support business owners in Ireland with tailor-made services from personally assigned advisors. Visit your local branch to talk to your FBD insurance team. FBD Insurance. Support. It's what we do. Underwritten by FBD Insurance plc. FBD Insurance Group Limited, trading as FBD Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to roll out the red carpet and celebrate the best and brightest in the business world. It's time for the Highland Radio Customer Service Awards in association with Michael Hinney's Department Store.
From your local community centre, your favourite takeaway, to your go-to pet shop, we're recognising the businesses that go the extra mile for you.
This award is a great way to show your appreciation for the businesses that make a difference in your life.
But you better act fast. The deadline for entries is just around the corner. So visit our website and nominate now. Nominations close Tuesday the 23rd of April. The awards will take place on the 2nd of June.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. With over 50 years of serving the community in Donegal, McElhinney's is proud to be part of every moment, big and small. Support local, shop McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
Okay, students at St Eunan's College Letterkenny are currently running a production of The Outsiders, adapted from S.C. Hinton's classic novel. It's on the 24th and 25th of April in on Grianon Theatre, Letterkenny. Tommy McIntyre is an English teacher in St Eunan's College Letterkenny. He's going to frame this for us before we chat to some of those that are in studio with us, Tommy. So talk to me about this show.
Okay, so the show is taking place on the 24th of April at 8 p.m. and on Grianon Theatre. It's based on S.E. Hinton's novel The Outsiders, written in the 1960s by Susan Hinton. Okay, she was 16 years of age when she wrote this novel, and it's selling 500,000 copies every year. So we decided, we had a drama club there, and we decided then to actually, why not do our own adaptation of the novel.
Okay, and it's been done before? You had, did you have a script to work off, or was it adapted, or what's the story? Pardon my ignorance.
No, we adapted the novel ourselves for the stage. Yeah,
Wow.
so there are a few small changes towards the end, but they don't actually infringe on the story itself.
Talk to us a little bit about the story of The Outsiders.
Okay, so it's set in 1960s Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's about a group of young men, like these men standing here, ranging from 14 years of age up to 20. They're called the Greasers. They're a close-knit bunch, again, like these guys here. And they have rivals called the Socias. And they're their rivals in social class. So the Greasers come from the less well-off area, and the Socias come from kind of the better area. And it's about their adventures together, yeah.
And great group of people to work with, presumably.
Oh, absolutely fantastic.
But there's a lot of work involved in getting this right.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of commitment.
Absolutely a lot of commitment. And Rachel McShane and Daniel Nealis and Fiona McDade have been absolutely fantastic. Rachel directs it along with Daniel Nealis, and Fiona does a lot of the staging and the props, yeah.
And was there recent awards won?
Yes, they took place, the Ballard Theatre drama competition took place down in Ballybuffet in February, and we were fortunate enough to win 4 awards there, including Matthew as Best Actor there, so yeah.
All right, brilliant stuff. And was that a performance of this or something else?
It was a 15-minute section of it, yeah.
Brilliant. So you managed to win over the judges in 15 minutes, people are going to get a real treat then with the full show in a brilliant setting on the 24th and 25th of April in Greenon. Tickets, obviously, there's going to be a huge demand from parents and schools, others within the school, but tickets available currently, are they?
There are tickets available now. They are flying out the door quite quickly now. So
they always are.
Yeah, I know. So, so it'll all go well.
Yeah, we are lastminute.com in this county and region. So if you want to get along to this on the 24th and 25th of April in Greenon, I suggest you contact the box office immediately. Right, so what are we going to hear now? Tommy,
you're going to hear the opening 2 or 3 minutes of the first act, first scene, where Ponyboy has just come out of the cinema. He's just watched a Paul Newman film, and he's about to have his first encounter with the Socias.
Dun, dun, dun. Right, okay, lads, whenever you're ready, take it away. I'll move this over here slightly there. Do you want to move, scooch in that way a bit? All right, go ahead. Right, curtain up.
I've always liked Paul Newman. He looks so tough. You need to be tough where I'm from. Even walking down around the east side, our territory, you really can't loan it. Greasers can't walk alone too much, or they get jumped, or someone will drive by and shout, "Greaser." But I just don't like going to the movies with anyone. Some people talk too much, and I kind of want to get into the movie and live the actors. It makes me, I don't know, kind of uncomfortable having people there, like someone looking over my shoulder when I'm reading a book. Well, that would not happen in my house anyways. Soda, my second oldest brother, would not crack a book if his life depended on it. And Daryl, who everyone calls Darry, well, he just works too hard to be into them. Or me, for that matter. Greaser! I really shouldn't be walking alone. Darry would get mad, real mad if he knew. I'm supposed to be a smart one, he says, making good grades and having a high IQ. Well, I guess he's just trying to be the grown-up in the house, ever since Mom and Dad died in a car crash. Her gang, the Greasers, well, we steal things and drive old, souped-up cars and even have a gang fight now and again. Hey, Grease!
Well, you do not here all alone, Greaseball.
Leave me alone.
Why, Grease? We just want to talk, shoot the breeze with you, and maybe, just maybe, give you a nice haircut.
What? Are you crazy?
Hey, Grease, how'd you like that haircut to start just below the chin?
Darry! Soda!
Oh, shut him up for Pete's sake.
Darry! Darry!
Shut it, Grease!
Hold it. Someone's coming.
See you around, Greaseball. That haircut's gonna have to wait.
You okay, Pony?
I'm good. Typical Socias. I'll talk.
Damn, Socias. This is our territory. Come on, Two-Bit.
Are you sure you're okay, Pony Boy?
I'm good, Johnny. Really. Just got scared as all.
You alright, Pony Boy?
I'm okay, Darry. Honest. Quit shaking me.
Sorry. They didn't hurt you too bad, did they? You got cut a bit, Pony Boy. You're bleeding like a stuck pig. They pull a blade on you.
Yeah.
Nah, they give us a slip. They're dirty.
Yeah, the kid's okay. He's tougher than he looks.
I thought you were still in jail, Dal.
Nah, good out for good behaviour.
Nice bruise you got there, Pony.
Thanks.
Why are you out here on your lonesome anyway, kid?
I just didn't think.
Shit, hey, brilliant, lads. Well done. Give yourselves a round of applause. Unfortunately, there's no one else here to clap. Okay, that is just a sample. And for those of you listening already, there's many different voices in there as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those taken to the stage on the 24th and 25th of April in Greenon Theatre. And it is their production of The Outsiders. Tickets are available now, but are going out the door quick. So if you want to go and watch that, you need to get onto the box office. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. Well done, teachers. Great to have you in. That was something different, something very enjoyable. All right, we'll be back with you on the 9 till noon show again tomorrow morning from 9.